From the whispering pines to the serene lakes, the lands of Native America echo with legends of strange and formidable creatures. This is Pantheon mythology, and these are the creatures of Native American folklore. But quickly before we begin, you love mythology, so be sure to check out our clothing brand, Pantheon Apparel. Here you'll find epic designs inspired by mythology, folklore and legends. We ship worldwide and are rated excellent on Trustpilot. You'll find a link in the description. Now, into the wilderness. Starting things off with the Wendigo, one of the more famous yet haunting figures from Native American folklore, particularly among the Algonquian-speaking tribes, it embodies the dire consequences of cannibalism and the moral degradation that follows such extreme acts of survival. Legend has it that during harsh winters when food was scarce, individuals driven by desperation might resort to cannibalism. This act, believed to be an extreme manifestation of greed and a violation of tribal taboo, transforms the person into a Wendigo, a grotesque, ever-hungry creature cursed with an insatiable appetite for human flesh. The Wendigo is often described as gaunt, with the body emaciated to the point where its skeleton is grotesquely visible under tight, pallid skin, emphasizing its relentless hunger. The transformation is not just about physical but spiritual, marking the loss of one's humanity and the dominance of base, animalistic urges. As the Wendigo consumes more, it grows proportionally, ensuring its hunger is never satisfied, symbolizing the endless cycle of greed and excess. In cultural lore, the Wendigo also serves as a moral lesson and cautionary tale, warning against the dangers of selfishness and the importance of community, especially in times of collective hardship. The myth underlines the belief that extreme selfishness and isolation can lead to moral and physical decay. To combat such threats, some tribes believed in Wendigo hunters, warriors or shamans tasked with protecting their people from those overtaken by the Wendigo spirit, and even from becoming Wendigos themselves. The skinwalker, known in the Navajo language as Yi-Nald-Lushi, meaning by means of it goes on all fours, is a figure of great intrigue and dread. These witch-like creatures possess the eerie ability to transform into various animals, including wolves, owls, and coyotes. This transformative skill is not merely a disguise but a tool that enhances their physical abilities, allowing them to move with heightened senses and exceptional agility. Traditionally regarded as malevolent entities, skinwalkers utilize their powers for sinister purposes. They are often depicted engaging in harmful witchcraft and dark spells, causing pain and misfortune to others. Their capability to mimic voices adds a layer of deceit, making them feared predators who can lure victims into traps by impersonating their loved ones. Discussing skinwalkers is often avoided. It is believed that speaking about them can attract their malevolent attention and bring bad luck. This highlights their profound impact and the genuine fear they inspire. The Thunderbird is a majestic and powerful creature depicted as a massive, you guessed it, bird whose wings create thunderstorms and lightning, often described with a wingspan vast enough to block the sun. Its feathers shimmer in a spectrum of vibrant colours reflecting the natural phenomena it controls, from storms to rains that nourish the earth. This magnificent bird is traditionally seen as a protector, using its formidable powers to fight evil spirits and ensure the safety of the communities under its watch. The Thunderbird is also deeply woven into the fabric of spiritual life, viewed as a guardian that interacts with the human world, providing guidance and protection. It's often invoked during ceremonies for its healing powers and its ability to bring balance and order through its connection with the weather. Across various narratives, it appears as a formidable force against malevolent beings, emphasizing its role as a preserver of harmony and a ward against chaos. Culturally, the Thunderbird symbolizes the supremacy of nature and the spirit world, representing transformation, power, and provision. The Payasaw bird, often depicted as a fearsome creature resembling a dragon, is renowned for its striking appearance and mythical tales associated with it. It is said to have inhabited the cliffs along the Mississippi River, near present-day Alton, Illinois. This creature is typically described as having a body covered in scales, a face resembling that of a man, and wings that could carry it swiftly through the air. The Payasaw bird is feared for its purported habit of swooping down to snatch humans as prey. According to one legend, a native chief named Owatoga devised a plan to rid his people of the Payasaw's terror. He used himself as bait to lure the creature into an ambush, where warriors armed with poisoned arrows awaited, ultimately bringing its reign of terror to an end. The Raven Mocker, one of the most feared figures within Cherokee spiritual beliefs, is a malevolent entity known for its sinister methods and the dread it instills in the hearts of those aware of its presence. This creature targets individuals close to death, aiming to prolong its own life by stealing their remaining years, which it achieves by literally consuming the hearts of its victims. The process is stealthy and undetectable, leaving no visible marks, yet the heart is completely removed from the victim's body. Raven mockers are notorious for their ability to disguise themselves, often appearing as frail old men or women, which allows them to approach their targets unnoticed. They operate mostly at night, adding to their elusiveness and terror they invoke. Those who possess the right spiritual knowledge and protective charms are said to be able to ward off these malevolent beings. In Cherokee communities, medicine men play a crucial role in protecting individuals from these creatures, especially during vulnerable times such as illness or near death. Mishipeshu, often depicted as an underwater panther or great lynx, is a formidable creature believed to dwell in the depths of Lake Superior. It is described as having the head and paws of a large cat, adorned with horns like a bison and a body covered in scales, reminiscent of a serpent or even bearing feathers. Its back and tail are notably spiked, adding to its fierce visage. This creature is known for its control over the aquatic elements, capable of stirring up storms, causing violent whirlpools, and even breaking the ice during harsh winters to claim its victims. Mishipeshu is respected and feared as a powerful guardian of the waters, particularly associated with certain sacred copper deposits believed to be under its protection. Legend suggests that this creature could unleash misfortune on those who dared disturb its domain or the natural balance it guards. Offerings, particularly of tobacco, are considered a way to appease Mishipeshu, ensuring a safe passage across the treacherous waters it governs. The Chenu is depicted as a formidable ice giant, once human, transformed by either sinister deeds or the extreme act of cannibalism. Originating from the rich oral traditions of the Mi'kmaq and other Algonquian-speaking tribes, this mythical creature embodies the chilling extremes of nature and human morality. Described as gargantuan and fearsome, with a heart of solid ice, the Chenu is a symbol of the perils and harshness of the northern winters. The transformation from human to Chenu is marked by a heart that turns to ice, a metaphor for the loss of humanity and the onset of a ravenous, malevolent existence. The tales often depict the Chenu as cannibalistic, feeding on humans to sate its endless hunger. However, these narratives also explore themes of redemption and transformation. In some stories, the Chenu can be returned to human form if its icy heart is melted, typically through acts of kindness or exposure to warmth, highlighting the potential for change and the power of human warmth and compassion. Zunukwa, also known as the Wild Woman of the Woods, is a complex and feared figure. She's often described as a giantess, twice the size of a human and covered in fur. She is said to live deep in the forests and mountains, carrying a large basket in which she kidnaps children, especially those who misbehave or wander off. Her signature call, an eerie hoo, is believed to mimic the wind through the trees, signalling her approach. Despite her fearsome nature, she can also be generous, offering wealth and knowledge to those who can soothe or tame her. Zunukwa's role in mythology is multifaceted. While she is feared for her cannibalistic tendencies and association with death, she's also respected for her knowledge of the forest and nature's secrets. Some stories describe her as dim-witted, easily outsmarted by the very children she tries to abduct, yet her ability to bestow wealth or even life-giving powers, such as the water of life, shows her potential for generosity. Uktena is a giant horned serpent from Cherokee lore, described as a fearsome and powerful being. According to legends, it is as large around as a tree trunk, with scales that glitter like sparks of fire and a crest on its forehead that resembles a blazing diamond, known as Ulun Suti. This jewel was said to hold immense power, and anyone who could retrieve it would gain tremendous abilities, but attempting to do so was often fatal. The Uktena's gaze is said to be so mesmerizing that it could lure its victim closer rather than allowing them to escape. In some stories, the Uktena was created during a time of great sickness sent by the sun to destroy the people. A man was transformed into this monstrous horned snake and sent to kill the sun. Although he failed, the Uktena continued to exist, growing angrier and more dangerous over time. It's believed to dwell in isolated and treacherous locations like deep caves or high in mountain passes, keeping its distance from human settlements. The Rougarou is a fearsome werewolf-like creature from Cajun folklore, often described as a human cursed to transform into a wolf or dog-headed beast. This transformation is typically linked to breaking religious rules, such as failing to observe Lent or committing other immoral acts. The creature is said to haunt the swamps and bayous, prowling at night to seek out its next victim. Its eyes are described as glowing red, and it possesses sharp claws and teeth, adding to its menacing appearance. Physically, the rougarou is depicted as a towering figure, sometimes standing up to 8 feet tall, covered in dark or black fur. It is known for its strength and speed, allowing it to move swiftly through the Louisiana swamps. In some stories, the rougarou can pass its curse to others through a bite, continuing the cycle of transformation. One of the more interesting elements of the legend is the way to repel the rougarou. Some believe that placing 13 small objects outside the door can confuse the creature, as it cannot count beyond 12. It will become so preoccupied with trying to count the objects that it will be caught by sunrise, forcing it to retreat. Damn you, maths. The Bekak is a malevolent, skeletal spirit known for its terrifying presence and ruthless hunting methods among the Ojibwe people. Described as an emaciated figure with translucent skin, it moves silently through the forests, especially at night, preying on warriors and hunters. Its glowing red eyes and shrill cries signal impending doom, instilling fear in those that hear it. The Bekak is relentless in its hunt, using invisible arrows or a war club to paralyze and kill its victims. Once it has subdued its prey, the Bekak is said to cut open the victim's abdomen and consume the liver, a particularly gruesome trait that emphasizes its ghastly nature. Remarkably, in some stories, the Bekak seals the wound after its feast, allowing the victim to continue living for a time, oblivious to the fatal damage. How thoughtful. However, the victim soon succumbs to illness and death, making its hunt not only terrifying, but inevitable. This creature's stealth and supernatural strength make it a formidable predator in the woods, capable of outmaneuvering seasoned hunters. It rarely ventures near human settlements, preferring the isolation of the forests, where it can continue its grim tasks. Water babies are mysterious and dangerous spirits believed to inhabit bodies of water such as springs, ponds and lakes. These entities often take on the appearance of human infants, and their cries are considered an ill omen. Some stories describe them as beautiful babies, while others depict them with fish-like tails or reptilian features. Despite their seemingly innocent form, interacting with water babies can lead to disaster, as they are said to lure people, particularly children, into the water to their doom. In some traditions, hearing the cry of a water baby foretells death, while other versions warn that those who attempt to rescue the infant-like spirits may face misfortune or be dragged into the water themselves. These spirits are said to be particularly vengeful, targeting those who disrespect the natural world or fail to offer proper reverence before entering their waters. Different tribes have their own variations of water baby stories. In Washoe legends, for example, water babies inhabit Lake Tahoe, where they are regarded as powerful beings who must be appeased with offerings to ensure safe passage. Similarly, in Paiute folklore, water babies are said to dwell in Pyramid Lake, luring people to their deaths with the sound of crying. The stiff-legged bear, also known as Kachitu Ashku, is a terrifying creature often described as an enormous, hairless bear with legs so stiff that it cannot bend its knees. This unusual anatomy forces the bear to move awkwardly through the forest, often leaning on trees to rest because it cannot sit or lie down. Despite its clumsy movements, the stiff-legged bear is a fearsome predator known to devour humans with ease. Its sharp teeth are said to be capable of crushing multiple people at once, adding to its fearsome reputation. One of the more distinctive features of this beast is its enormous size, sometimes compared to that of an elephant. Some researchers believe that the legend of the stiff-legged bear may have been inspired by the discovery of ancient mammoth or mastodon fossils, as these creatures had large, straight legs like the bear's stiff limbs. However, traditional stories emphasize the bear's carnivorous habits, unlike the herbivorous mastodons, and describe it as a vicious man-eater, hunting humans in the deep forests. Sasquatch, also known as Bigfoot, is a large, hairy, human-like creature, frequently described as a powerful being of the forest. Most commonly associated with the Pacific Northwest region, Sasquatch is said to be anywhere between 6 to 9 feet tall, covered in thick hair, and possessing immense strength. The creature is often portrayed as elusive and shy, preferring to avoid humans while inhabiting the dense wilderness. In some traditions, Sasquatch is a guardian of nature, representing a bridge between the human world and the untamed wilderness. Depictions of Sasquatch generally depict it as a solitary creature, communicating through whistles, grunts, or gestures. While it is predominantly considered as a benign figure in certain stories, there are other versions in which it is portrayed as malevolent and even dangerous. In some tales, Sasquatch is known to abduct humans, especially women, or play tricks on those who enter its domain. However, direct attacks are rare, and in most cases, Sasquatch remains a neutral presence, living alongside humans without conflict. Deer Woman, sometimes known as Deer Lady, is a shape-shifting spirit often described as a beautiful woman with the lower body or feet of a deer. She is primarily associated with the themes of fertility and nature, but her role in legends can shift dramatically depending on the situation. Deer Woman appears to men, luring them with enchanting beauty, particularly if they have committed acts of infidelity or disrespected women. Once entranced by her, these men are often led to their doom, either lost in the wilderness or crushed beneath her hooves. Nalusa Falaya, also known as the Long Black Being, is a shadowy, malevolent entity that is described as a tall and spiny creature with long, pointed ears and a shriveled face. It often moves through dense forests and swamps, slithering on its stomach or blending seamlessly into shadows. This ability to melt into the darkness makes it an ominous figure that lurks around dusk, preying on unsuspecting travellers or hunters who stray too far from safety. The creature's terrifying presence isn't just physical. Nalusa Falaya is also known for its power to instill deep fear and even cause misfortune or harm to those it encounters. In some stories, it bewitches its victims by sticking a thorn into them, rendering them capable of doing evil acts without their awareness. The cursed individual may only realize they have been bewitched when their own actions begin to bring harm to others. The Snallygaster is often described as a hybrid creature combining elements of birds and reptiles. With massive wings, sharp talons, and a metallic beak, this monster has been reported as having glowing red eyes and an eerie screech that sends shivers through those who hear it. Some accounts even describe it as having tentacles, which it uses to snatch up its victims, typically livestock or even humans, draining them of blood. The Snallygaster's origins are often linked to early German settlers in Maryland, where it evolved from stories of the Schnellergeist, meaning quick spirit, into a local terror. Though commonly associated with German folklore, it also has connections to Native American legends in the Appalachian region, particularly with the Thunderbird and other sky spirits. Tales of powerful winged creatures capable of causing storms and hunting from the skies may have influenced the development of the Snallygaster legend among settlers. The overlapping themes of skyborne monsters and mysterious large birds in both Native America and settler folklore helped create a fearsome hybrid figure. The creature's folklore spiked early in the 1900s when newspapers in Maryland ran sensational stories of sightings, spreading fear and fascination. It was even said to have laid large eggs in remote mountain regions, leading some to believe it could multiply. The Snallygaster's link to vampiric traits, such as sucking blood from its victims, further cemented its place as a feared creature. The Flying Head, also known as Kanonsistoni, and linked to the Iroquois and Wyandot tribes, is a terrifying disembodied spirit with a large head covered in thick, dark hair and eyes that glow with a malevolent light. It is said to fly through the air, driven by an insatiable hunger and rage, often accompanied by sharp claws and fangs capable of tearing through its victims. Some stories describe the Flying Head as a monstrous being that stalks the night, beating its wings on the walls of houses and terrifying those within. Its appearance is often a harbinger of death, with a death typically followed soon after its visit. The origins of the Flying Head are linked to violent deaths, often from murder or other malevolent acts. This creature is believed to have been born from these tragic circumstances, cursed to wander as a vengeful spirit. It is particularly feared for its ability to move silently in its relentless pursuit of prey, often attacking those who are vulnerable, such as widows and orphans. In some legends, the Flying Head is associated with whirlwinds, amplifying its menacing reputation as a destructive force of nature. Barquas, often called the Wild Man of the Woods, is a supernatural figure deeply connected with the Kwakwaka'wakw people of the Pacific Northwest, particularly on Vancouver Island. Often called the Wild Man of the Woods, Barquas is a spirit of the forest and the dead. He is depicted as a skeletal, ghostly figure with long dishevelled hair, a hooked nose, and sunken eyes. Despite his frail appearance, Barquas is a trickster with significant power over the living, often luring lost humans into the spirit world. Barquas is infamous for offering ghost food, often in the form of rotten wood or insects disguised as dried salmon, to those he encounters in the forest. If a person eats this food, they are condemned to join it in the spirit world, becoming part of his ghostly entourage. He is closely associated with the souls of those who drowned, believed to be drawn into his realm through deception. This spirit is often described as shy, lurking in the shadows, and preferring the company of the dead. The Tehihian, also known as cannibal dwarves, are small but vicious humanoid beings, often described as child-size but possessing immense strength. These beings are said to roam the Great Plains and were particularly feared by tribes such as the Urapuho, Cheyenne, and Grovant. They were known for their aggressive nature, attacking anyone they encountered and consuming human flesh. Legend suggests they could move incredibly fast, and some stories claim they even had the power to become invisible. Despite their size, the Tehihian were formidable in battle, believed to be nearly impossible to defeat due to their supernatural strength and warlike nature. Some accounts say that they had to be killed in combat to reach their afterlife. Their gluttonous behaviour, which included killing more than they could eat, added to their terrifying reputation. The tribes believed that the Tehihian were eventually defeated in an ancient war, but their stories still serve as cautionary tales. As we conclude our exploration of the creatures woven into the fabric of Native American folklore, we've encountered beings that embody the spirit of the land, reflecting the rich traditions and beliefs of various tribes. Each creature offers a unique narrative, revealing the profound connection between nature, humanity, and the supernatural. These legends are not merely tales of the past. They resonate with the timeless themes of balance, respect, and the mysteries of existence, reminding us that every story holds a lesson, and every shadow in the wilderness may conceal a deeper truth. The deep blue sea, vast, mysterious, and home to creatures both horrifying and awe-inspiring. This is Pantheon mythology, and these are the sea creatures from across mythology and folklore. Starting things off with Scylla, one of Greek mythology's most fearsome sea monsters. Scylla wasn't always the monster sailors feared. She was once a beautiful nymph. The transformation into a creature with a maiden's torso and 6 dog heads, each with razor-sharp teeth, came courtesy of a potent spell by the sorceress Circe, or Circe, driven by jealousy. Scylla resided in a narrow strait across from the whirlpool Charybdis, posing a significant danger to any ship that dared pass through. This strait was a real maritime hazard, blending natural and supernatural threats. Charybdis, counterpart to the monstrous Scylla, is another legendary figure from Greek mythology that embodies the terror of the sea. Unlike Scylla's partly human form, Charybdis is purely elemental, often depicted as a massive whirlpool. Originating from the stories told by Homer in the Odyssey, Charybdis was said to reside opposite Scylla in a narrow channel of water. 3 times a day, Charybdis would swallow huge amounts of water, then belch them back out, creating whirlpools capable of dragging a ship and its entire crew to the ocean floor. According to mythology, Charybdis was originally a sea nymph who was transformed into this fearsome whirlpool as punishment by Zeus for stealing Heracles' cattle. Cetus, in Greek mythology, is a massive sea monster sent by Poseidon to terrorize the kingdom of Ethiopia, as a punishment for Queen Cassiopeia's boastfulness about her daughter Andromeda's beauty surpassing that of the Nereids, who are sea nymphs known for their stunning looks. Desperate to save their kingdom, King Cepheus and Queen Cassiopeia were advised by an oracle to sacrifice Andromeda to Cetus. Chained to a rock beside the sea, Andromeda awaited her grim fate, only to be rescued by the hero Perseus, who had coincidentally just slain Medusa and possessed her head, which could turn onlookers to stone. Perseus used it to petrify Cetus, saving Andromeda and halting the creature's reign of terror. Staying in ancient Greece, we have the Sirens, who are renowned for their captivating songs that lure sailors to their doom. Initially depicted as half-bird, half-woman creatures, their form evolved over time, often appearing more human or mermaid-like in later myths. These mythical beings are best known from Homer's Odyssey, where they nearly ensnared Odysseus with their melodies, which are hauntingly beautiful yet fatal to those who listen. The Sirens were believed to have originated as companions to Persephone and transformed into their avian form as punishment for failing to prevent her abduction by Hades. The Sirens also appear in the Argonautica, where they encountered Jason and the Argonauts. To counteract the Sirens' songs, Orpheus, who was part of Jason's crew, played music that drowned out the Sirens, saving the crew from their fate. The Flying Dutchman is unfortunately not a superhero from the Netherlands, but instead a legendary ghost ship from European maritime folklore believed to be doomed to sail the seas for eternity. The story centres around a Dutch sea captain, often named Hendrik van der Decken, who, during a treacherous storm at the Cape of Good Hope, vowed to round the Cape even if it took him till doomsday. As a result of his defiance, whether cursed by an angel or the devil in different versions, his ship and crew were condemned to sail forever, never to make port. The Flying Dutchman is considered a bad omen for sailors, with sightings of the spectral ship said to foretell disaster. Reports of sightings have been made as recently as the late 19th and early 20th centuries, most notably in 1881, when Prince George of Wales, later King George V, and his crew reportedly saw the phantom vessel glowing red off the coast of Australia. Cthulhu is a terrifying cosmic entity first introduced by H.P. Lovecraft in his 1928 short story The Call of Cthulhu. Described as a massive being with a humanoid form, Cthulhu has an octopus-like head, a body covered in scaly, rubbery skin and long, narrow wings. Lovecraft portrayed Cthulhu as a great old one, a powerful and ancient being that came from the stars before the dawn of humanity. The creature resides in the sunken city of R'lyeh, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, where it lies dormant, awaiting the right conditions to rise again. Cthulhu is central to Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos, a universe populated by otherworldly deities and cosmic horrors. The being communicates with humans through telepathy, often driving those who encounter it to madness. Worshippers of Cthulhu, human and otherwise, believe that one day the creature will awaken and reclaim dominion over the earth. Moving into the Norse realm, we encounter Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, a colossal figure of chaos in Norse mythology. Born from the union of the trickster god Loki and the giantess Angerboda, Jormungandr is so vast that he encircles the entire world, biting his own tail. According to the myths, Jormungandr's release of his tail signifies the beginning of Ragnarok, the end of the world, in Norse cosmology. Jormungandr's most famous legend involves his deadly rivalry with Thor, the god of thunder. This enmity is highlighted during a mythical fishing trip where Thor attempts to capture the serpent using an ox head as bait. The encounter ends with the giant Hymir cutting the line, allowing Jormungandr to escape back into the depths, setting the stage for their final battle at Ragnarok. During this apocalyptic event, Thor and Jormungandr finally kill each other, Thor succumbing to the serpent's venom shortly after dealing the fatal blow. Next we have perhaps the superstar of sea monsters, the Kraken. Originating from Scandinavian folklore, this legendary creature is portrayed as a massive beast lurking in the deep seas, capable of dragging ships and their entire crews into the ocean's abyss with its enormous tentacles. The Kraken's description as a gigantic cephalopod resembling a colossal squid likely stems from actual marine biology. Sailors' accounts and sightings of giant squids might have fueled the myths surrounding this fearsome monster. The Kraken's legendary status is built on its immense size and terrifying power. According to historical accounts, it could be mistaken for a chain of islands when resting at the sea's surface due to its massive bulk. When stirred, it was said to create whirlpools strong enough to pull down even the largest ships, making it one of the most feared creatures in old maritime lore. Lyngbakr is another fascinating monster of the seas from Norse mythology. This creature, described in the medieval Icelandic Uvar Ord saga, was said to dwell in the Greenland Sea, masquerading as a heather-covered island. Sailors, mistaking Lyngbakr for land, would often anchor their ships and step onto its back, only to be pulled to their watery graves as a massive whale-like creature submerged itself beneath the waves. Its name derives from the Icelandic words lyngi, meaning heather, and bak, meaning back, symbolizing its deceptive appearance. The Umibozu, or sea monk, is a mysterious and fearsome spirit from Japanese folklore, often described as a gigantic black humanoid figure with a bald head resembling that of a Buddhist monk. Umibozu appears suddenly to sailors on calm seas, turning the waters violent and tumultuous. This yokai has a known reputation for either destroying ships outright or demanding a barrel from the crew, only to use it to capsize the vessel and drown them. One famous way to escape the Umibozu is to offer it a bottomless barrel, which confuses the creature long enough for the sailors to make their escape. Legends about the Umibozu are numerous across Japan, with some tales suggesting the spirit is born from the vengeful souls of drowned monks. The Iso Onna in Japanese folklore is often referred to as the coast woman. This vampiric yokai primarily inhabits rocky coastlines, particularly in the Kyushu region. Iso Onna appears as a beautiful woman, her wet hair cascading down as she lures fishermen or travellers towards her. Once close enough, she reveals her true nature, using her long hair to ensnare her victims and suck their blood. In some versions of the legend, she's depicted with a dragon-like lower body, which she can make invisible, adding to her deceptive allure. This yokai is deeply feared, as she is known to pull her prey into the sea, drowning them beneath the waves. Iso Onna is particularly active during special occasions like New Year's Eve or the Obon festival, when spirits are believed to roam the earth. Ningen, a captivating figure in Japanese cryptozoology, is often described as a gigantic humanoid creature that reportedly inhabits the icy waters of the Antarctic. Witnesses claim this mysterious being possesses a pale, almost translucent body resembling that of a human, albeit lacking distinct facial features, which adds to its eerie allure. The term ningen translates to human in Japanese, emphasizing the creature's human-like shape. Eyewitness accounts describe ningen as being about 20 to 30 meters long, with flipper-like appendages instead of arms, and some reports even suggest it has a tail reminiscent of a mermaid or a large aquatic mammal. The kappa is a mischievous Japanese water spirit, known for its amphibious nature and often depicted as a small humanoid creature with greenish reptilian skin, webbed hands, and a dish-like depression on its head filled with water. This water is essential to its strength and survival, and if it spills, the kappa is weakened or even dies. Kappa are known for residing in rivers, ponds, and lakes, where they can be both playful and dangerous, sometimes pulling unsuspecting victims into the water. The ningyo, also from Japan, are often compared to mermaids, though with a more eerie and unique twist. They are depicted as a fish-like being with a human face, sometimes possessing features such as monkey-like mouths or even horns. It is believed that the ningyo brings both blessings and curses. Catching one is said to grant longevity or even eternal life, especially if its flesh is consumed. But this gift is often accompanied by disastrous events such as storms or bad luck. In one popular tale, consuming the flesh of a ningyo granted a young girl known as Yobikuni a decently long lifespan of 800 years before becoming a nun and eventually dying of old age. While some believe the creature is a bringer of fortune, many fishermen would release the ningyo back to the sea to avoid any calamities that might follow its capture. From Japanese-style mermaids to Irish, we have the mero, a captivating sea creature from Celtic mythology. Typically depicted with a human upper body and fish-like lower half, female meros are known for their enchanting beauty, long hair, and hauntingly melodic voices. These beings wear a magical red cap, or kohulin druth, which allows them to travel between land and sea. While female meros are often portrayed as kind and capable of forming relationships with humans, male meros are described as hideous and monstrous. In some legends, meros marry humans, but their longing for the ocean eventually draws them back to the sea, where they are believed to lure sailors with their alluring songs, much like Greek sirens. Selkies are mystical creatures from Irish, Scottish, and Faroese folklore, known for their ability to transform between seal and human forms. In their seal form, they are typically large, dark-eyed seals. But when they come ashore, they shed their seal skin to reveal human form, often described as exceptionally beautiful. The key to their transformation is their seal skin, and if a human finds and hides the skin, the selkie is trapped in human form, unable to return to the sea until the skin is recovered. Many selkie stories involve themes of love and loss, where a human, often a fisherman, captures a female selkie by hiding her seal skin and marries her. However, these unions are often bittersweet, as the selkie remains drawn to the ocean. Eventually, if the selkie finds her sealskin, she returns to the sea, leaving behind her human family. Male selkies are less commonly depicted, but they are believed to be irresistibly attractive to human women, sometimes appearing during storms to seek out lovers on land. The Ikushka is a deadly water spirit from Scottish folklore, known as one of the most malevolent and dangerous creatures in Celtic mythology. This shape-shifting water horse is often found in sea lochs, freshwater lakes, and sometimes even in the ocean. At first glance, it appears as a normal, beautiful horse, luring unsuspecting travellers to mount it. However, once on its back, the rider becomes magically stuck, and the Ikuska charges into the water, where it drowns and devours its victim, leaving only their liver to float to the surface. The Nuka-Lavi is a nightmare-inducing creature, particularly associated with the Orkney Islands. This grotesque sea demon is described as a nightmarish fusion of horse and human, with its rider grotesquely fused to the horse's back. What makes the Nuka-Lavi even more horrifying is its skinless body, exposing red raw flesh, pulsating veins, and visible muscles. The creature's breath is said to be toxic, bringing disease, drought, and death to crops and livestock. Legends describe it as emerging from the sea to wreak havoc on land during the colder months, particularly in the winter, but it cannot cross fresh water. In many tales, it terrorizes islanders, leaving devastation in its wake. The only protection from the Nuka-Lavi is to cross a stream, which the demon is unable to follow. The Loch Ness Monster, affectionately known as Nessie, is one of the most famous mythical creatures, said to inhabit the depths of Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. The legend dates back to ancient times, with early references found in Pictish stone carvings and the 7th century writings about Saint Columba, who supposedly encountered a water beast in the River Ness in 565 AD. Nessie's modern fame began in 1933 when a couple reported seeing a large creature in the loch, which spurred international interest and countless sightings. Description of the monster vary, but it is often depicted as a long-necked, hump-backed creature, sparking comparisons to prehistoric reptiles like the plesiosaur. However, much of the photographic evidence, including the famous 1934 surgeon's photograph, has since been debunked as hoaxes. The Ahuizotl is a terrifying water monster from Aztec mythology, often described as having a dog-like body with dark fur, small ears, and a long prehensile tail ending in a human-like hand. This mythical creature lurks in lakes and rivers, particularly around the Tenochtitlan, waiting to drag unsuspecting victims into the water. According to the myth, it uses its tail hand to pull people into the depths, where it feasts on their eyes, teeth, and nails. The bodies of its victims, after being drowned, would float back to the surface, though only priests were permitted to handle them. This creature was considered a friend of the rain gods, especially Tlaloc, the god of rain and fertility, and its victims were believed to be taken to Tlalocan, the paradise of the water gods. Sipaqli is a fearsome and foundational figure, often depicted as a primordial sea monster with a body that combines the traits of a crocodile, fish, and toad. Its most striking feature is the presence of extra mouths at every joint, symbolizing its insatiable hunger. Sipaqli is closely linked to the Aztec creation myth, in which the gods Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca worked together to tear the creature apart. From Sipaqli's dismembered body, the gods formed the earth, the heavens, and the underworld, making this monster both a symbol of destruction and the foundation of life itself. The Makara is a legendary sea creature from Hindu and Buddhist mythology, often depicted as a hybrid of both terrestrial and aquatic animals. Its most common depiction includes the front half of a land animal, such as a crocodile, elephant, or deer, and the back half of a sea creature, like a fish or seal. This fantastical mix of animals symbolizes its connection to both earth and water, making it a powerful guardian of thresholds and protector of sacred spaces like temples. In Hindu mythology, the Makara serves as a vahana, or vehicle of deities such as Varuna, the god of the oceans, and the river goddess, Gunga. It is also a symbol of fertility and chaos, associated with the waters that bring life and order to the cosmos. The Luscar is a fearsome sea monster from Caribbean folklore, particularly associated with the Bahamas. This creature is believed to dwell in the deep blue holes and underwater caves around the Andros Island and other parts of the Caribbean. Described as a hybrid between a giant octopus and a shark, the Luscar is said to have enormous tentacles capable of dragging ships and swimmers into the depths. Some accounts even suggest it can grow up to 75 feet in length, making it a terrifying presence in the deep sea. Local legends claim that the tides in these blue holes are caused by the Luscar breathing in and out, creating powerful whirlpools that can pull anything nearby into the caverns. Some Bahamian fishermen even view the creature as a guardian of the blue holes, a protector of the ocean's delicate ecosystems. However, its predatory nature makes it a source of fear, with tales of it devouring both sea creatures and humans. River Muma is a mystical figure in Jamaican folklore, often depicted as a mermaid-like water spirit who resides in rivers. She is both feared and revered, guarding the rivers and the fish, which are considered her children. She is frequently seen sitting by the river, combing her long, flowing hair with a golden comb. However, anyone who catches sight of her risks falling into a trance and being pulled into the water. It is said that attempts to capture her or harm her result in rivers drying up and the fish disappearing. A famous tale linked to River Muma is that of the Golden Table, a treasure that occasionally rises from the river's depths. Greed leads many to try and steal the table, but they inevitably meet a watery demise as the table sinks back into the river, dragging its would-be captors with it. The Vodyanoi is a nasty water spirit from Slavic mythology, known for inhabiting rivers, lakes and ponds. Often depicted as an old man with frog-like appearance, greenish skin and algae-covered body, the Vodyanoi is notorious for luring humans into the water, particularly those who disrespect his domain. His primary pastime is drowning unsuspecting swimmers or fishermen, especially those who bathe on holy days or fail to show proper reverence to the water. The spirit holds power over aquatic life and is even believed to collect the souls of his victims, storing them in porcelain jars. These jars are said to represent his status and power among other spirits. Despite his generally malevolent nature, Slavic traditions include rituals and offerings, such as bread or tobacco, to appease Vodyanoi and ensure safe passage across water bodies. The Rusalka is another powerful and haunting water spirit from Slavic mythology. Traditionally depicted as a beautiful young woman, she is believed to be the soul of a woman who died tragically, often through drowning. These spirits are closely associated with lakes and rivers, where they lure unsuspecting men with their beauty and ethereal singing. While enchanting, the Rusalka is a dangerous figure, as she is known to drown her victims either out of vengeance or in response to her tragic origins. In earlier traditions, Rusalki were tied to fertility and were not inherently malevolent. They were believed to bring life-giving moisture to crops during spring. However, over time, the Rusalka evolved into a more sinister figure associated with death and unclean spirits, particularly those who died prematurely or violently. The Xiaolong is a revered aquatic dragon in Chinese mythology, often described as a scaled dragon or flood dragon. This powerful creature is associated with water, controlling rain, rivers and floods, and is considered a master of the aquatic realm. While it is considered a lesser dragon in comparison to the mighty Long, Chinese dragon, the Xiaolong can evolve to a full dragon after centuries of cultivation. Its deep connection to water makes it both a bringer of life-giving rain and a force of destruction through floods. The Telesa are powerful spirit women of Samoan mythology, often connected with natural elements including water. One particular form, Telesa Vasa Loloa, is deeply tied to the sea, embodying the ocean's might and controlling the tides and waves. Created by the god Tangaloa to protect the earth, Telesa Vasa Loloa is linked to the vast ocean and its life-sustaining forces. These water-linked Telesa guard the seas and are believed to punish those who disrespect the environment, particularly the waters they protect. The Taniwha is a legendary creature from Maori mythology, often described as a guardian or monster that inhabits lakes, rivers or the sea. These supernatural beings take on various forms ranging from giant lizards to dragons and sometimes even appear as sharks or whales. In coastal and waterbound traditions, Taniwha are deeply connected to the ocean, guarding specific waterways or dangerous areas like caves and pools. In some stories, they are seen as protectors of a tribe, safeguarding people from harm, while in other tales, they are portrayed as fearsome creatures that capture or eat those who trespass on their territory. Famous Taniwha, such as Tuhirangi, are known to have protected canoes and travellers in the waters of New Zealand. However, not all Taniwha are benevolent. Some, like Tutai Poroporo, began as harmless creatures but became dangerous over time, transforming into powerful beings that terrorise rivers and seas. The Aspidokeloni is a mythical sea creature with links to medieval folklore and even ancient Greece, often described as an enormous turtle or whale. Its most distinctive trait is its deceptive appearance. Its back is covered with sand, rocks and vegetation, making it look like a small habitable island. Unwary sailors would often anchor their ships on its back, believing they had found safe land. Once the sailors disembarked and lit fires, the creature would submerge, dragging the ships and their crews to a watery grave. This sea monster was a symbol of deceit and illusion, commonly appearing in medieval bestiaries and allegorical tales representing the dangers of trusting appearances. The Aspidokalani's name is derived from the Greek word aspis, shield, and kalane, turtle, emphasizing its turtle-like form. The Bakunawa is a fearsome sea serpent from Philippine mythology, known for its role in causing lunar eclipses. Described as a massive dragon-like creature that dwells in the ocean, it would rise from the depths to swallow the moons in the sky. According to ancient Filipino legends, there were once 7 moons that illuminated the night, but the beast, envious of their beauty, devoured them one by one, leaving only 1 moon in the sky. When an eclipse occurs, it is believed that the Bakunawa is attempting to swallow the last moon, and the people would bang pots and make loud noises to scare the creature away. The Leviathan is a colossal sea monster rooted in Jewish mythology and often depicted as a giant serpent, dragon, or whale-like creature. Its origins trace back to pre-biblical Mesopotamian mythology, where it shares similarities with other sea monsters like the Ugaritic serpent Lotan. In the Hebrew Bible, the Leviathan is referenced in several books, including Psalms, Job, and Isaiah, where it is described as a creature of chaos that God ultimately overcomes to establish order in the world. Leviathan plays a key role in the ancient Jewish conception of the cosmic battle between chaos and divine order. In some traditions, God created 2 Leviathans, but killed the female to prevent them from reproducing and overwhelming the world. The remaining Leviathan, a symbol of chaos, will be slain at the end of time during the Messianic age, with its flesh served as a grand feast for the righteous. The Nguruvilu is a water spirit from the mythology of the Mapuche people of Chile. Its name comes from the Mapudungun words for fox, nguru, and snake, filu, as it is often described as a creature with the head and forelegs of a fox and a long serpentine body. The Nguruvilu inhabits rivers and lakes, where it uses its cunning to trick people into crossing seemingly shallow waters. Once someone steps in, the creature creates a whirlpool with its powerful tail, pulling the victim under to drown them. Despite its dangerous nature, it is also viewed as a guardian of water, ensuring respect and reverence of the natural world. In some stories, it can be placated by those who show respect for the waters it guards. A shaman, or machi, is often called upon to subdue the creature if it becomes too aggressive, using a ritual to banish it from the area. Ikuturso is a malevolent sea monster from Finnish mythology, often described as a terrifying multi-headed or tentacled creature dwelling in the cold waters of the Baltic Sea. It is portrayed as both a sea monster and a god of war and disease. In some myths, Ikuturso is linked to destruction, chaos, and even the spread of plagues, earning him the title of the Father of Diseases. He plays a notable role in the Kalevala, Finland's national epic, where he's summoned by the sorceress Luohi to stop the theft of the magical artifact known as the Sampo. However, he is ultimately defeated by the hero Väinämöinen, who forces him to retreat back to the depths of the sea, never to return. The Bunyip is a legendary creature from Australian Aboriginal folklore described as a water-dwelling monster that inhabits swamps, rivers and billabongs. The physical characteristics of the Bunyip vary widely across different indigenous stories, but it is often portrayed as a large creature with features like a long neck, flippers, tusks, and a terrifying, eerie cry. Despite its terrifying appearance, in many stories the Bunyip is sometimes depicted as a protector of nature rather than a man-eating predator. Its connection to water makes it a symbol of the unknown and potentially dangerous aspects of the Australian landscape. While the Bunyip's origin lies in Aboriginal oral tradition, European settlers in the 19th century embraced and further spread the legend, attributing strange sounds and unexplained animal bones to the creature. The Muljuwang is a formidable creature from Ngarrindjeri mythology, known to haunt the waters of the Murray River and Lake Alexandrina in Australia. Often depicted as a terrifying hybrid of man and fish, this water dweller possesses large clawed hands capable of pulling unsuspecting boats beneath the surface. Used as a cautionary tale, the Muljuwang warns Aboriginal children to avoid the riverside after dark. It embodies the power of nature, representing both the dangers lurking in the water and the consequences of greed, as one tale recounts how a selfish man was transformed into the creature as punishment for overfishing. The Aklut is a powerful shape-shifting creature from Inuit mythology, known for its ability to transform between a killer whale, orca, in the sea and a wolf on land. This mythical being represents the interconnectedness of the Arctic's harsh environments, embodying the strength and cunning of both animals. When in the water, the Arctlut takes form of a fierce orca, highly respected by the Inuit for its hunting prowess. On land, it transforms into a wolf, a symbol of survival and adaptability in the Arctic tundra. The Arctlut is known to be a dangerous predator, feared for its ability to hunt both at sea and on land. In some stories, its wolf tracks lead directly to the ocean, hinting at its dual nature. As vast as the oceans themselves are the legends and myths of sea creatures that we've barely skimmed the surface of today, so apologies for any missed. We've traversed stormy seas and explored shadowy depths, encountering the most awe-inspiring and terrifying monsters ever to emerge in mythology and folklore. These creatures are not just figments of maritime lore, they are symbols of the unknown, embodying the fears and fascinations of generations across the globe. Each story, each creature reflects a unique cultural insight into the human relationship with the mysterious world beneath the waves. From the ancient villages to the deep forests, Slavic lands are rich with tales of strange and fearsome beings. This is Pantheon mythology, and these are the creatures that lurk in Slavic mythology and folklore. The Alkonost is a mythical creature depicted with the body of a bird and the head of a beautiful woman, known for its extraordinarily melodious and mesmerizing voice that can bring immense joy or deep sorrow. Her song is believed to have prophetic powers, often signaling forthcoming changes or imparting a state of blissful oblivion. This creature is associated with the paradisiacal realms and symbolizes the dual nature of existence, embodying both the fleeting nature of happiness and the eternal hope that underpins human resilience. Traditionally, the Alkonost lays its eggs on the seashore, and these eggs are said to calm the sea until they hatch, bringing tranquility and renewal. In folklore, the Alkonost is often portrayed as a benign entity whose presence heralds good omens and peace, contrasting with the more malevolent Sirin, another birdwoman creature from Slavic lore. Ajdaya is a formidable creature in Slavic mythology, often described as a demonic version of the dragon Zmayi. Unlike other dragons, it is believed to have an odd number of heads, commonly 3, 5, or 7. This creature is noted for its malevolence and is associated with destructive powers such as spitting fire and causing earthquakes or volcanic eruptions. Originating from ancient Slavic lore, Ajdaya is thought to live in dark subterranean places and has a significant role in myths symbolizing chaos and danger. Its depiction as a serpent or dragon that consumes others of its kind to gain formidable size and power highlights its menacing nature. In Serbian folklore, there are stories where St. George is believed to have slain an Azdaya instead of a regular dragon, underscoring its significance in local mythology. The creature's fearsome reputation is so profound that its imagery was adopted by Christianity to represent evil, much like the devil in Western lore. Baba Yaga is a witch or ogress who dwells in a forest hut perched on chicken legs. She embodies a blend of dark and sometimes benevolent traits, making her one of the most enigmatic figures in mythology. Traditionally, Baba Yaga is portrayed as having formidable powers, including the ability to fly in a mortar, steering with a pestle, and using a broom to sweep away her tracks behind her. Her hut is encircled by a fence made of human bones, reinforcing her fearsome reputation. In many tales, Baba Yaga appears as a figure who challenges protagonists with difficult tasks, which can either lead to their demise or aid in their transformation and growth. This dual nature suggests she may serve as a guardian of the fountains of the waters of life and death, symbolizing the cycle of nature and life. Despite her terrifying demeanor, she occasionally offers crucial help to heroes and heroines, guiding them with her wisdom and magical items. Baba Yaga's portrayal varies significantly across different stories. In some, she is a solitary figure who interacts with visitors to her hut, either helping them or hindering them based on their actions or her whims. Her motivations can seem capricious, but they often serve to test the moral character of the visitors. In other narratives, Baba Yaga appears as one of 3 sisters, all sharing the same name, each owning a chicken-legged hut and possessing similar traits. Babai is a night spirit or bogeyman often invoked to ensure children behave and sleep throughout the night. This mythical figure is portrayed as a dark, sometimes crooked old man who may appear with physical defects like muteness or lameness. Traditionally, Babai is said to abduct children who misbehave or fail to go to sleep at night. He's often depicted with a bag or cane and is believed to reside in locations such as forests, swamps, or gardens. At night, Babai is said to approach children's windows to watch them, adding a sinister aspect to his role in folklore. This entity is referred to by various names across different Slavic languages, including Babaika in Russian and Babaiko in Ukrainian. Baba Roga is a fearsome figure in southern Slavic folklore, depicted as an old witch or hag with a horn on her forehead, which differentiates her from her Eastern Slavic counterpart, Baba Yaga. Baba Roga is known for her terrifying appearance, with haggard features, long, unkempt hair, and an iron-like nose. She's primarily featured in myths and stories from regions like Serbia, Croatia, and Bosnia. Often portrayed as an antagonist in folklore, she uses her supernatural powers to hinder heroes on their quests and is known for kidnapping disobedient children, a common theme in Slavic myths intended to instill fear and encourage good behavior among the young. Despite her frightening nature, some stories depict her as a protective figure, visiting children at night to ensure that they have pleasant dreams and scaring them back to sleep if they wake up. While similar to Baba Yaga, Baba Roga differs in her bulkier build and the horn on her forehead. She also resides in a dark cave, unlike Baba Yaga's chicken-legged hut. In some tales, Baba Roga owns a powerful horse and commands various animals, which help her in her tasks. Balachko is a three-headed giant known for his terrifying presence and immense power. Each of his three heads possesses distinct abilities. One breathes fire, another emits freezing cold winds, and the third head often symbolizes brute strength. These powers, however, have a limitation. They can only be used for a short period, after which Balachko becomes vulnerable. This temporary weakness becomes the key to defeating him, as seen in various tales where clever heroes exploit this limitation. One of the most famous stories involving Balachko is found in the Serbian epic Tsar Dušan's Wedding, where he serves under King Mihailo. In this tale, Balachko attempts to kidnap Princess Roxanda, only to be defeated by the hero Miloš Vojinović. Bauk is a menacing figure known as a carnivorous, animal-like monster that lurks in dark, abandoned places such as caves, barns, and deserted houses. Its primary role in mythology is as a boogeyman, used to frighten children and keep them away from dangerous, shadowy areas. The Bauk is described as a stealthy stalker with glowing eyes, capable of snatching and devouring anyone who ventures too close to its hiding spots. Despite its terrifying nature, the Bauk is easily frightened by loud noises and bright light, which can drive it away. This dual nature as both fearsome predator and creature with significant vulnerabilities make it a compelling figure in folklore of the region. The Bauk's origins are tied to the southern Slavs, with its name deriving from Serbian onomatopoeia bau, similar to the English boo, used to scare someone. Some interpretations suggest that the legend of the Bauk may be inspired by real animals such as bears that once roamed Serbia but have since become extinct. Beda, sometimes known as Bida in Polish folklore, is a malevolent demon closely associated with poverty, misfortune, and tragedy. In Slavic mythology, Beda is often depicted as a thin, skeletal old woman with a terrifying appearance. Her long, stringy hair and hollow black eyes make her a haunting figure. She's believed to wander the world, bringing calamities and suffering to the homes she visits. The presence of Beda is said to bring a cascade of disasters, including fires, the death of livestock, and the loss of crops. Her influence is so pervasive that she's considered almost impossible to remove once she is settled in a household. According to folklore, Beda could transform into small animals or inanimate objects like a log, making it difficult for people to identify or expel her. Interestingly, the word Bida in Polish translates to poverty, reflecting the demon's role in spreading hardship and despair. Legends say that Beda is an immortal being, making her very hard to defeat, and the only way to rid oneself of her curse is to trick her into moving into another person's home. Bes, also known as Bais, is a demon associated with chaos and evil. This malevolent spirit was believed to cause distress, possess individuals, and drive them to madness. Over time, as Christianity spread, Bes became more closely linked with the concept of the devil, transforming from a general spirit of misfortune into a symbol of malevolent power. These demons were thought to inhabit remote places like forests and mountains, lurking in the shadows to wreak havoc on those who ventured too close. The image of Bes evolved significantly under Christian influence, where many of these ancient spirits were reinterpreted as devils or agents of evil. Bessamar is a powerful and ancient demon regarded as one of the most malevolent spirits. Known for possessing individuals or animals, it transforms its host into vessels of pure rage and evil. This possession leaves the host acting violently, often causing irreversible harm. The demon's influence is so intense that it can drive a person to madness, leading to a swift and tragic end. Bessamar's presence is feared as it embodies the collective wrath of many evil spirits combined into one formidable force. Feared not only for the havoc it wreaks during possession, but also for the lasting impact it leaves on its victims. Those who survive the encounter with Bessamar are often left mentally scarred, struggling with lingering madness that can haunt them for the rest of their lives. The demon's ability to embody the combined malevolence of multiple evil spirits make it one of the most dreaded entities in Slavic folklore. Bukovac is a fearsome creature in Slavic mythology, particularly known in the folklore regions like Sirmia, Serbia, and Croatia. This mythical being is typically depicted as a six-legged monster with gnarled horns, bright blue eyes, and a slimy amphibious body. Bukovac is said to dwell in lakes and pools, emerging from the water at night to create loud, terrifying noises. Bukovac is not just a noisy nuisance, but a dangerous predator. It is believed to attack both humans and animals, often attempting to strangle them with its powerful limbs. The creature is also associated with unexplained phenomena, such as mysterious disappearances and strange sounds around bodies of water. While it primarily instills fear, Bukovac is sometimes portrayed as a trickster, using its abilities to play pranks on unsuspecting victims. Chort is a malevolent spirit or demon deeply rooted in Slavic folklore, commonly depicted with horns, hooves, and a tail resembling a traditional image of a devil. Often associated with chaos and evil, he embodies the darker aspects of the supernatural world, and his presence is linked to misfortune and temptation. He's known to be a trickster, delighting in leading people astray or tempting them into sinful behavior. In some Slavic traditions, Chort is considered the son of Chernobog, the god of darkness and chaos, and Mara, a goddess associated with death. This lineage emphasizes his connection with the underworld and his role in maintaining the balance between good and evil. Chort's abilities include shapeshifting and causing chaos, making him a formidable adversary in many folk tales. Chuma, also known as Kuga, is a personification of the plague in Slavic mythology, particularly within Serbian, Bulgarian, and broader southern Slavic traditions. She's typically depicted as a terrifying old woman, often dressed in white with long, unkempt hair and a ghastly pale complexion. In some versions of the myth, Chuma is also portrayed with goat-like features, further emphasizing her connection to death and disease. Chuma is not merely a bringer of death, but is seen as a goddess or spirit whose presence signaled an impending plague. Her arrival in a village was considered a harbinger of doom, as she would spread illness and death wherever she went. Despite her fearsome reputation, some tales suggest that if properly appeased with offerings, such as basil and other herbs, Chuma might spare a household or even provide a peaceful death to those who encounter her. The domovoi is a revered household spirit in Slavic folklore, particularly within Russian traditions. This ancient figure is seen as the guardian of the home, responsible for protecting the family and ensuring their well-being. Typically, the domovoi is depicted as a small elderly man with a long beard, sometimes covered in hair from head to toe. He's believed to live in the hearth behind the stove, or in other nooks and crannies in the house, rarely showing himself to the inhabitants. The domovoi's primary role is to safeguard the household from misfortune and malevolent spirits. He's known to warn the family of impending danger by making noises such as knocking or causing dogs to howl. A content domovoi is considered a sign of prosperity and harmony in the home, and families would often leave offerings like bread, milk, or even small items of clothing to keep him pleased. In some traditions, the domovoi is connected to ancestor worship, believed to be the spirit of a deceased family member who continues to look after the living. This connection underscores the deep ties between the family, their home, and their spiritual protector. However, the domovoi can become mischievous or even malevolent if disrespected or ignored, causing trouble around the house until properly appeased. The Drekavac, also known as the Screamer or the Screecher, is believed to be the restless spirit of an unbaptized child or sinful person returning from the grave to haunt the living. The creature is often depicted in various forms, most commonly as a small, undead child or a human canine that walks on its hind legs. It is said to emit a blood-curdling scream that can be heard from great distance, often foretelling death or illness. Drekavac is believed to be visible only at night, particularly during certain times of the year, such as the unbaptized days, the 12 days of Christmas, or early spring when other supernatural beings are thought to be more active. The creature avoids light and dogs, and it is said that if its shadow falls upon a person, that individual will soon fall ill and die. Ga-Mayun, much like Alconist, is a mystical creature often depicted as a large bird with the head of a beautiful woman. This creature is closely associated with wisdom, knowledge, and prophecy. Ga-Mayun is believed to possess divine knowledge of all creation, including gods, heroes, and humans, making her a revered figure in Russian folklore. Living on an island near paradise, she is said to deliver divine messages and prophecies through her enchanting and often cryptic songs. Her voice is believed to have magical properties, and those who can decipher her hymns may gain profound wisdom or insights into the future. Ga-Mayun is also connected to several Slavic gods, particularly Veles, the god of wisdom and the underworld. In some traditions, she is seen as a personification of Veles, further highlighting her role as keeper of secrets and messenger between the divine and mortal worlds. Lesnik, also known as Leshi, Lesovik, and other regional variations, is a powerful forest spirit in Slavic mythology. This enigmatic being serves as the guardian of the forest, protecting its trees, animals, and all who dwell within. Lesnik is a master shapeshifter, capable of transforming into various forms, including animals, plants, or even human-like figures with goat-like features. This ability allows him to blend seamlessly into his surroundings, making him an elusive and formidable presence in the woods. He is often portrayed as a mischievous spirit who delights in leading travelers astray, confusing them with illusions or playing pranks. However, his actions are not purely malevolent. They often reflect the respect or disrespect shown by humans towards the natural world. Those who treat the forest with reverence may find Lesnik to be a helpful guide, while those who harm the environment may incur his wrath. In some depictions, Lesnik appears with human characteristics, such as a man with goat's feet, horns, and a green beard made of moss and leaves. His power is at its peak deep within the forest, particularly in areas with ancient trees and wildlife. Liko is a malevolent figure symbolizing evil, fate, and misfortune. This creature is commonly depicted as a one-eyed, old, and gaunt woman dressed in black, although other versions describe Liko as a male goblin or a giant taller than the trees. Despite the variations, all representations share the creature's association with bad luck and calamity. Historically, Liko was often considered as a servant of death, particularly during times of epidemics. In Slavic tales, encountering Liko usually results in disaster, with the creature embodying the unpredictable and often cruel twists of fate. Some stories recount Liko riding on a person's back, leading them to accidental drownings or tricking them into fatal situations. Milosnice are mysterious and fearsome entities known for their association with spreading diseases and causing epidemics in the regions they visit. Often referred to with a degree of reverence and fear, they were believed to have the power to bring widespread illness and misfortune to entire communities. The name Milosnice itself is thought to be derived from the words meaning mercy, reflecting the belief that these spirits could be appeased through offerings or rituals. Due to the fear they inspired, people would avoid directly mentioning their name, referring to them instead with more flattering titles like good mothers or aunts, in hopes of avoiding their wrath. To protect themselves from these spirits, communities would perform specific rituals such as lighting fires or offering sacrifices to ward off their influence and prevent the spread of disease. Mora is a female spirit known for causing nightmares, believed to sit on the chest of her victims during sleep, leading to a sensation of suffocation or intense pressure, which often results in disturbing dreams or a terrifying inability to move. This phenomenon is closely related to what we now understand as sleep paralysis. As a shapeshifter, Mora can appear in various forms, including a beautiful woman, an old crone, or animals like cats and horses. While she is generally feared for her ability to induce nightmares, some traditions also depict her as a protector of the home. To ward off her presence, people would use rituals and charms, believing that these could either appease her or repel her. Moyana, not to be confused with the deity Morana, is a powerful and enigmatic sea spirit, often considered a once water deity or sea nymph. She is sometimes depicted as the daughter of the Sea Tsar, ruling over the waters and having control over the winds. Moyana is a large, imposing figure associated with the sea, and she is sometimes linked to forces of nature, such as storms and harsh weather. While in some traditions she is seen as a protective spirit of the sea, in others she can be vengeful, causing shipwrecks and drawing sailors to their doom. Her connection to the sea makes her a significant figure in the folklore of coastal regions, where she embodies both the nurturing and destructive powers of the ocean. Nježit is a malevolent spirit, particularly feared for its association with disease and decay. Often described as a terrifying skeletal figure with decaying flesh, the Nježit embodies the concept of a living corpse, much like a zombie in modern mythology. Its very presence is believed to bring illness, including symptoms like fever, blindness, or even causing a person's teeth to fall out. The Nježit is not just a symbol of physical decay, but also a harbinger of misfortune. In some traditions, it is linked to plagues and epidemics, with the mere sight of a Nježit considered an omen of widespread sickness. Patuljak is a diminutive figure in Slavic mythology, often portrayed as a dwarf-like being. Known for their small stature and great intellect, they are considered the polar opposites of giants in folklore. Despite their size, they are depicted as powerful and cunning, often possessing knowledge of hidden treasures or magical abilities. In many stories, Patuljaks are closely associated with nature, living in forests, mountains, or underground. They're often guardians of these natural spaces, protecting them from human intrusion. Some tales also depict them as helpers or tricksters, depending on how they are treated by those who encounter them. Psoglav is a terrifying demonic creature, with its name literally translating to doghead, and the creature is aptly named for its horrifying appearance. It is depicted with a human body, horse legs, and a dog's head, featuring iron teeth and a single eye in the middle of its forehead. This combination of features makes the creature one of the more grotesque and fearsome entities in Slavic folklore. The Psoglav is known to inhabit dark, remote places such as caves, where it is said to feed on human corpses, often digging up graves to consume the flesh of the dead. This creature is deeply associated with death and evil, symbolizing the unknown dangers that lurk in the wilderness. The Rusalka are water nymphs or mermaid-like spirit associated with lakes and rivers. Beautiful young women who inhabit water bodies, they can have both good and evil traits depending on regional folklore. Traditionally, Rusalki are linked to fertility themes, as they were believed to help nurture crops by transferring life-giving moisture to the fields during the spring. However, in some later tales, particularly those from the 19th century onwards, they're described as more sinister beings. These spirits are said to be the souls of young women who met tragic ends. They are known to lure men with their beauty and songs, sometimes leading to deadly consequences through drowning or even laughter. The Sirene is a creature from Eastern Slavic folklore, often depicted similarly to the Alkonost and Gamayun. It is envisioned as a bird with the head and torso of a woman, residing near Eri, a mythical paradise. The Sirene is usually adorned with a golden crown, and its feathers lackluster, sometimes resembling those of an owl. This creature is known for its enchanting song that could captivate humans to the extent that those who heard it would lose their senses and follow the Sirene, often to their demise. The song of the Sirene was believed to be so compelling that it could lead people away from their earthly lives, driven by the desire to follow the Sirene's call. Communities would resort to drastic measures like cannon shots or ringing church bells to dispel the enchantment and protect people from wandering off. Sudjenici, also known as Sudjaje, are a trio of spirits revered across Slavic cultures, each playing a distinct role in determining the fate of newborns. They're believed to decide a child's lifespan, future, and manner of death, elements of fate that no one can escape. According to tradition, families prepare for their visit by ensuring the home is clean and the mother and child are surrounded by offerings like freshly baked bread, wine, basil plants, and gold and silver coins. When they visit 3 days after a child's birth, each Sujinitsi has a specific influence. The first, known for her unpleasant appearance and demeanor, foretells the child's death. The second, also viewed negatively, predicts hardships and challenges that the child may face. The third, the most beautiful and benevolent of the trio, spins the threads that may determine the child's longevity and future successes, particularly in marriage. Despite the foreboding predictions of the first two, it's often balanced with the blessings of the third that families hope will prevail. The Todorats are depicted as formidable and malevolent beings in Balkan folklore, known for their half-human, half-horse appearance. These creatures are described as horrifying riders emerging from the backs of horses, cloaked in such a way that their faces remain unseen. Known for their destructive passage through villages and towns, they're feared for their capability to trample and kill anyone in their path. These demonic entities are particularly associated with Todor's Saturday, an annual event marking the end of winter. It's the one day they are said to appear, led by the great Todor, a white, lame demon draped in a white cloak, dragging rattling chains. To appease and banish these fearsome spirits, people engage in specific rituals, including the creation of cookies shaped like horse hooves, a portion of which is offered to the horses. On this day, a strict protocol is observed where children must stay indoors and no work is undertaken to ensure the safety of the community to avoid invoking the wrath of the Todorats. The Tsikavats is a mythical creature in Serbian folklore imagined as a bird-like being with a long beak and a pelican-like sac. According to legend, one could be created by taking an egg from a black hen and having a woman carry it under her armpit for 40 days, during which strict ritualistic conditions must be adhered to. Once hatched, the Tsikavats could perform various services for its owner, such as stealing honey and milk from others, fulfilling wishes, and enabling its owner to understand animal languages. The vampire, or vampire, is a significant figure in Slavic folklore, particularly in Serbian culture, and is the origin of the modern vampire myth that has spread worldwide. In Slavic tradition, vampires typically arise from people who led particularly wicked lives, committed suicide, or died violently. In some beliefs, an evil spirit could possess a recently deceased body, turning it into a vampire. These vampires would return to their hometowns to terrorize the living, often attacking and feeding on their former neighbors and relatives. The Slavic vampire is a far cry from the charming aristocrats seen in modern media. Instead, it is a bloodthirsty and violent creature, with no qualms about brutally killing its victims. Unlike their modern counterparts, who are often depicted with a single pair of fangs, Slavic vampires have a mouthful of sharp teeth and are known for nearly decapitating their victims while feeding. The Vila, known to be a beautiful fairy-like creature, eternally youthful with bird or butterfly wings, golden hair, and a flowing white dress. She is typically portrayed as benevolent towards humans, armed with a bow and arrows and possessing great power which is believed to reside in her hair. The Vila dwells far from human settlements, preferring the solitude of forests, lakes, rivers, or even the clouds. According to legend, she's born from dew, specific flowers, or when a rainbow appears in the sky. The Vila has the ability to transform into any animal, with a particular affinity for falcons, wolves, swans, or mares. She's often seen riding horses or elks during hunts, or dancing in circles with other Vilae. In fairy tales, she might seduce heroes or even serve as their sister-in-law, using her knowledge of herbs to heal their wounds from battle. Young girls would seek her favor for beauty or protection. However, the Vila is not one to easily forgive insults. She can strike down offenders with just a glance, or with her bow and arrows. Even when she brings harm, she remains irresistibly beautiful and seductive. A Vila can become loyal to a human if they manage to steal her clothes, and she can be transformed into an ordinary woman if her wings are taken away. It's also believed that garlic seeds grant her eternal youth. During the new moon, the Vila becomes more similar to Rusalka, making her more dangerous to humans. Vilae are believed to perform rituals near small bodies of water, such as streams, ponds, and wells. The Vodeniak is a creature from Eastern and Western Slavic folklore believed to inhabit bodies of water, particularly near watermills. According to legend, Vodeniak originates from the souls of drowned individuals, especially those who did not receive proper funeral rites. In some versions, it is said it is the soul of an exceptionally evil person, condemned by the gods to live in the water as punishment. Vodeniak is typically depicted as a humanoid figure with long claws and a tail, often covered in moss or grass, or as an old man with a green beard and hair, or even as a fish-like creature, covered in mud. During the day, it is said to rest in a beautifully decorated lair, but at night he emerges to drag unlucky victims, particularly married men, into the water to steal their wives and turn them into servants. He's also known to cause damage to watermills, bridges, and fishing nets. To appease the Vodeniak, people would offer sacrifices such as roosters, chickens, sheep, or even horses. The Vukodlak are werewolves in Slavic mythology, but their characteristics and origins are quite distinct from the popularized versions. In Slavic beliefs, becoming a Vukodlak is not the result of a bite or a scratch, but involves specific rituals or circumstances steeped in cultural significance. One method of transforming involves skinning a dead wolf and wearing its pelt without tanning it. This act is considered a grave sin, as killing wolves was seen as equivalent to harming an ancestor. The transformation into a werewolf is thus viewed as a punishment from the god Darsbog. Another belief holds that if a pregnant woman dies and a wolf passes over her body, the unborn child can transform into a werewolf, eventually emerging from the womb fully grown but ready to hunt. Slavic werewolves are believed to have the power to cause eclipses by devouring the sun or moon and then spitting it out after some time. Unlike the modern depiction, these werewolves do not turn others into werewolves, nor do they form packs or engage in battles with vampires. However, they are sometimes considered the siblings of vampires, sharing the same immortal status and craving for human blood and flesh. Both are seen as beings caught between Yav, the world of the living, and Nav, the world of the dead. In their human form, werewolves could be recognized by specific physical traits such as unibrow, hairy palms, and equal-length index and middle fingers. They are solitary hunters, driven by a ferocious need for flesh once transformed, and can temporarily revert to their human body by touching silver or gold, and can be killed by beheading with weapons made from these metals. Žabčica, also known as Rarog or simply Phoenix, is a revered mystical bird known across Slavic countries. Unlike the Western concept of the phoenix, Žabčica does not burn itself to be reborn, although still considered an immortal bird, with its existence symbolizing hope and the granting of wishes. This otherworldly bird is described as tall and extraordinarily beautiful, with feathers that glow like fire, illuminating large areas like the sun. It is believed to be nocturnal, sleeping during the day and becoming active at night. In folklore, capturing Žabčica is said to bring great fortune, granting the captor wishes and bringing hope. The Zmaj is a significant dragon figure in Slavic mythology, particularly within Serbian tradition. Unlike the purely bad-intentioned dragons found in other mythologies, this creature is complex, often depicted as both a protector and a formidable adversary depending on the context. Typically described as a winged being with multiple heads, it is capable of breathing fire. When it flies, it creates a distinctive whistling or howling sound that reverberates across the land. This dragon also possesses the ability to shapeshift into various forms, such as an eagle, snake, or even a human, adding to its mystical and formidable nature. Folklore also suggests that these dragons are born from fiery balls that rise from lakes, eventually settling in mountainous regions to protect them. They are associated with fertility and weather control, often guarding crops from storms and other natural disasters. However, when smitten with love, the dragon might neglect its duties, leading to disastrous consequences for the villagers under its protection. Throughout today's journey into the creatures of Slavic mythology and folklore, we've encountered beings that are as enigmatic as they are captivating. These creatures, steeped in the traditions and beliefs of the Slavic people, embody the fears, hopes, and mysteries that have shaped these cultures for centuries, with each offering a glimpse into the world where the natural and supernatural coexist, and where every shadow might conceal a deeper truth. As we reflect on these legends, we see that they are more than just ancient stories. They are powerful narratives that connect us to the past and remind us of the enduring themes that still resonate today. Vampires suck. but their legends bite even harder. Let's meet them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pantheon mythology, and these are the vampires from Mythology and Folklore. Just to clarify, in this video we'll be exploring entities with vampiric traits, not just your classic Count Dracula types. We'll be taking a tour by region, giving some structure to the many forms these creatures take around the world. Starting in Africa, we have the Adza, a vampiric entity from the folklore of the Ewe people in Ghana and Togo. This creature is known for its ability to transform into a firefly, making it difficult to spot as it slips through small openings like cracks or keyholes at night. While in this form, it drains the blood of its victims, often targeting children. The Adza can also shapeshift back into a human form if captured, and in this state, it can possess individuals, turning them into living vampires who may act out of envy or malice. The Asan-Bosam is a fearsome creature from the folklore of the Ashanti people in Ghana, as well as parts of Togo and the Ivory Coast. This entity is known for its eerie tree-dwelling habits. With iron teeth and hooked feet, they hang from branches, waiting to snatch unsuspecting passers-by who wander into the forest. Its hooked legs allow it to grip tree limbs while silently watching for prey, and legends describe it as having human-like form but with bat-like features, such as sharp teeth and sometimes even wings. The Oba Ifo, also from Ashanti folklore, is a sinister figure known for draining the life force from both humans and plants. It's especially feared for targeting children, leaving them weak and sickly. At night, the Oba Ifo emits a faint glow from its armpits and anus, hinting at its presence as it moves silently in the dark. Its ability to sap energy extends to crops as well, leading to withered fields and barren harvests, making it a source of agricultural misfortune. Legends suggest that the Oba Ifo might be born with its powers or become one through dark practices, blending elements of witchcraft and vampirism. The Asiman is from the folklore of the Dahomey people, found in present-day Benin. It is often depicted as a type of vampiric witch with the ability to perform dark magic. The Asiman can remove its skin and transform into a glowing orb or corpse candle, enabling it to fly through the night in search of prey. One of the unique traits of the Asiman is its ability to take on different animal forms, particularly at night. It feeds on the blood or essence of its victims, much like the traditional vampire, and is thought to possess significant magical abilities. The Impundulu, or lightning bird, is a vampiric creature from South African folklore, particularly among the Xhosa and Zulu people. Known for its ability to summon thunderstorms, it appears as a striking bird with black and white feathers. The Impundulu has an insatiable thirst for blood, preying on both humans and animals. Often linked to witchcraft, it serves as a familiar for witches, passed down through generations. It can also shapeshift, sometimes taking the form of an attractive human to seduce its victims. The Ramanga, from the folklore of the Bestileo people of Madagascar, is known as a living vampire who performs a unique ritualistic role. It serves tribal elders by consuming the blood and nail clippings of nobles after certain ceremonies or medical procedures. This act was believed to be a way of honouring the elite, and also perhaps to protect their essence, ensuring it wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. Now, moving into North America, we have the Chupacabra, whose name means goat sucker in Spanish. It is a creature that became part of Latin American folklore in the mid-1990s, beginning with sightings in Puerto Rico. Initially described as a reptilian creature with spines along its back, red eyes, and sharp fangs, it was blamed for mysterious livestock deaths where animals were found completely drained of blood. Reports of similar attacks quickly spread to other regions, including Mexico, Chile, and parts of the southern United States, leading to widespread panic among farmers. The Fifole is a mysterious spirit from Louisiana folklore. Often seen as a glowing ball of light drifting through the swamps, the Fifole can sometimes take on a darker, more sinister role. Some stories describe it as the spirit of a deceased person sent back to Earth, but instead of seeking redemption, it targets the living. In certain tales, it is said to drink the blood of children, resembling a vampire. This aspect is often linked to the belief that the Fifole could be the soul of a child who died before baptism, cursed to roam the swamps and draw life from the innocent. The Sucuña is a well-known figure in Caribbean folklore, particularly in Trinidad, Dominica, and other islands. By day, she appears as an old woman living quietly among villagers, but at night, she sheds her skin and transforms into a ball of fire. In this form, she can slip through the smallest cracks and openings to enter homes, where she drinks the blood of sleeping victims. This act leaves behind a telltale blue-black mark on the skin, a sign that someone has been visited by the Sucuña. The Richmond vampire is a well-known urban legend from Richmond, Virginia, tied to the tragic collapse of the Churchill Tunnel in 1925. According to the story, when the tunnel partially collapsed, a bloodied figure with sharp, jagged teeth was seen emerging from the debris. The figure, described as having skin hanging from its bones, fled the scene and reportedly disappeared into the mausoleum of William Wortham Poole in Hollywood Cemetery. This event led to rumours that Poole, who had died years earlier, was actually a vampire who had been disturbed by the tunnel disaster. The legend grew over the years, spurred by tales of strange occurrences around Poole's tomb and whispers of occult activity. It became a popular ghost story among locals, especially students from nearby Virginia Commonwealth University, who would sneak into the cemetery at night hoping to catch a glimpse of the vampire or experience something supernatural. The Hustradu is a figure from Wyandot folklore that blends elements of both vampiric and zombie-like traits. Described as an evil spirit, it inhabits recently deceased bodies, causing them to rise from the grave and attack the living. Unlike traditional vampires which feed solely on blood, the Hustradu devours its victims, making it a more gruesome and terrifying presence. The legend suggests that these creatures were feared for their relentless corpse-like hunger, and communities would take measures to protect themselves from these reanimated threats. From North now to South America, we begin with the Abchanchu, a notorious figure in Bolivian folklore known for luring travellers to their doom. This creature takes the form of a frail elderly person who appears lost or in distress, often among remote paths. When a kind-hearted passerby stops to offer help, the Abchanchu reveals its true nature, attacking the unsuspecting victim. Reports describe it as draining the blood of those who fall for its ruse, leaving them dead or sometimes afflicted with fatal disease shortly after the encounter. The Canchus are figures from ancient Peruvian folklore believed to be a class of devil worshippers who practiced dark rituals. They were notorious for drinking the blood of children, a practice thought to help them retain youth and vitality. According to the myths, Chanchus would sometimes even sacrifice children as part of their rituals to appease the entities they worshipped. Also from Peru, the Pistaco is known for its gruesome habit of extracting fat from its victims. Often described as a pale, human-like being, the Pistaco is said to target lone travellers in the highlands, luring them to remote areas before attacking. This creature's name comes from the Quechua word piste, meaning to cut or behead, reflecting its violent nature. The Jaracara, from Brazil, is a vampiric snake which, according to legend, it targets nursing mothers, latching onto them to drink their breast milk, while simultaneously using its tail to keep the baby quiet, placing it in the infant's mouth. This predatory behavior is seen as a dark inversion of nurturing, making the Jaracara both sinister and parasitic. Some versions of the myth suggest that the creature disguises itself to get close to its victims. Remaining in Brazil, we have the Encurado, a dark figure in folklore known for its bloodthirsty nature. Cloaked entirely in black leather, the Encurado hunts at night, slipping into villages to prey on unsuspecting victims. Unlike other legends, he doesn't need an invitation. He gains trust through manipulation before attacking. Stories describe him draining the blood of both humans and livestock, making him feared across the countryside. What sets him apart is his resistance to typical deterrents like garlic and crosses. This invulnerability adds to his mystique, as he's believed to have supernatural strength and the ability to hypnotize his victims, making escape nearly impossible. The Peochen is a creature from the folklore of the Mapuche and Chilote people in southern Chile. Described as a gigantic winged serpent, the Peochen is known for its ability to shapeshift into various forms, making it a master of disguise. It preys primarily on livestock, particularly sheep, by draining their blood. The creature's gaze is said to have the power to paralyze its victims, leaving them defenseless against its attacks. It is often feared for the eerie, whistling sounds it emits during its nightly runs, adding to its chilling presence. Legends describe it as a malevolent being, and only a Machi, a spiritual healer within Mapuche culture, is believed to possess the knowledge and power to defeat it. Now into Europe with Arnold Paole, who is one of the most famous historical cases of vampirism from 18th century Serbia. After his death in 1726, he was believed to have become a vampire, sparking a wave of panic in his village of Medveja. Paole had served as a soldier, and during his military service he claimed to have been attacked by a vampire. To protect himself, he followed traditional practices by consuming earth from the vampire's grave and smearing himself with blood, hoping to avoid becoming one after his death. Despite these precautions, shortly after his passing from a fall, villagers reported seeing Paole wandering at night, and many began to die under mysterious circumstances, often describing symptoms of suffocation or strangulation. When villagers exhumed his body, they found it remarkably well preserved, with blood at the mouth, a classic sign of vampirism according to local beliefs. Authorities, including Austrian military officials, were involved in investigating these claims, and they eventually ordered Paole's body to be staked and burned, hoping to end the so-called epidemic. Following the tale of Arnold Paole, we come to the tale of Sava Savanović, another famous vampire in Serbian folklore. Sava was said to reside in an old watermill near the village of Zarožje, hidden within the forests along the Rogačica River. According to legend, the mill became a place of fear. Anyone who ventured there after sunset would mysteriously disappear. Sava would emerge at night, preying on millers who worked late, draining their blood and leaving them lifeless by morning. The myth gained prominence when unexplained deaths began occurring, with victims showing strange marks, leading to fears of vampirism. Despite attempts to rid the area of him, Sava's spirit was believed to remain bound to the mill. Even as recently as 2012, local authorities in the region issued warnings, urging residents to avoid the area at night, suggesting that Sava had awoken once more. From Croatia, we have Jure Grando, often regarded as the first documented vampire in European history. Jure was a stonemason from the village of Kringa in Istria, who passed away in 1656. After his death, the villagers began experiencing strange nocturnal visits, mysterious knocks on doors followed by unexplained illnesses and deaths. Jure's widow even claimed he appeared to her, grinning eerily in the dead of night. Fearing that he had returned from the grave, a local priest along with a group of brave villagers decided to exhume his body. To their horror, they found Jure's corpse still intact, with a sinister smile frozen on his face. After unsuccessful attempts to pierce his heart, they ultimately decapitated him, and it is said the body let out a chilling scream as blood flowed from the cut. This act was believed to finally end his reign of terror, restoring peace to Kringa. The strigoi are deeply rooted in Romanian folklore, known as restless spirits that rise from their graves to torment the living. Unlike many modern depictions of vampires, strigoi are believed to embody the souls of the deceased who haven't found peace, often due to unresolved issues and improper burial rites. They can take on physical form, usually appearing as ghastly, decayed figures, but also have the ability to shapeshift into animals like wolves or bats, enhancing their eerie presence. In traditional Romanian beliefs, there are two main types: strigoi vii, meaning living strigoi, and strigoi morti, dead strigoi. The living are individuals believed to possess supernatural abilities, sometimes linked to witchcraft, while the dead are reanimated corpses that rise to drain the life force from their victims. To protect against these beings, communities would use rituals such as placing garlic in the coffins, staking the body, or burying it upside down. The upir is a creature from Slavic folklore known for its association with blood-drinking and undead traits. Its earliest references date back to the 11th century in Old Russian texts, where it was described as a malevolent entity that preyed on the living, often linked with death and disease. The upir was seen as a gruesome corpse-like being with sharp teeth, red eyes, and a ravenous thirst for blood, Legends say that Upir could rise from its grave, attacking victims during the night, and some variations even describe it transforming into animals. The Vurdalak from Russian folklore is a cursed being that preys on those closest to it. Unlike other vampire myths where the victims are strangers, the Vurdalak seeks out its own family members, drinking their blood and turning them into more of its kind. This twisted focus on loved ones makes it particularly sinister, as it threatens to spread its curse within tight-knit communities. The Alp from German folklore is a vampiric shape-shifting spirit known for its association with nightmares. Often described as a small, mischievous creature, the Alp has the unsettling ability to slip into homes at night, preying on sleeping victims. It can drain blood, often through the nipples of both men and women, and even consumes milk from women and cows. One of its distinctive traits is its ability to shapeshift into animals like cats, dogs, and even butterflies, using this skill to evade detection. The Nachzehrer, also from Germany, is a unique type of vampire-like creature known for its unsettling habits. Unlike other revenants, it doesn't primarily hunt by biting. Instead, it consumes its own burial shroud or even gnaws on its body while in the grave, a behavior believed to siphon the life force from its living relatives. This connection to death and disease made it notorious as a harbinger of plagues. Active at night, the Nachzehrer could also draw life from afar, causing its victims to weaken or fall ill without ever leaving its resting place. Another from German folklore is the Aufhocker, whose name translates as leap upon. This sinister figure often appears as a black dog lurking in the shadows and stalking lone travelers at night. Known for its vampiric tendencies, the Aufhocker drains its victims' vitality by strangling or biting, typically going for the throat. Legends describe it leaping onto the backs of unsuspecting travelers, crushing them under its weight until they collapse from exhaustion. It can also shapeshift, taking on the form of other animals, or even humans, to deceive its prey. The Darug Dua, which translates to red bloodsucker, is a tragic yet fearsome figure from Irish folklore. Once a beautiful woman from Waterford, she was forced into a loveless marriage with an abusive man by her father, who ignored her wishes to marry someone she truly loved. Desperate and heartbroken, she took her own life. But this was not the end. Rising from her grave, she sought vengeance against those who wronged her, draining the life force of her cruel husband and father. Legends say she uses her beauty to lure victims, mesmerizing them before feeding on their blood. Even today, the site believed to be her burial near Strongbow's Tree in Waterford is said to be marked by stones piled by locals who hope to keep her from rising again. The Bavan Sheath from Scotland is a beautiful woman dressed in a long green dress that conceals her deer-like hooves. She is known for her seductive nature, luring men into the wilderness by appearing as a charming and alluring presence. Typically, she preys on groups of hunters who express desire for female company, magically appearing to dance with them. Once the men are entranced, she reveals her true nature, using sharp fingernails to draw blood from her victims until they are drained. The Berwick vampire legend dates back to medieval times and is one of the earliest accounts of vampiric activity in Britain. Recorded by William Newburgh of his Historia Rerum Anglicarum, the tale revolves around a deceased merchant from Berwick-upon-Tweed, whose restless spirit is said to rise from the grave at night. Following his death, locals noticed a series of strange occurrences and began to believe that the plague sweeping through the town was caused by the merchant's undead return. The vampire was blamed for bringing illness and terror, with some reports even stating that he physically attacked and drained the vitality from those he encountered. To stop the undead terror, villagers exhumed the body, which was found in an unusually preserved state, and performed a ritualistic burning. The Highgate vampire emerged as a chilling legend in the late 1960s and 1970s, centred around mysterious sightings at Highgate Cemetery in North London. Reports began when locals described seeing a tall, dark figure with hypnotic red eyes drifting through the cemetery. The story gained notoriety after David Farrant, an occult enthusiast, claimed to encounter the entity on Christmas Eve in 1969. Shortly after, Sean Manchester, a self-proclaimed vampire hunter, declared that this was no ordinary spectre, but a king vampire from a medieval Wallachia, supposedly resurrected by modern occult practices. This sparked a public feud between Farrant and Manchester, both vying to be the one to vanquish the vampire. The media frenzy that followed culminated in a chaotic scene on March 13, 1970, when hundreds of would-be vampire hunters descended on the cemetery armed with stakes and crucifixes. Despite police attempts to control the crowd, graves were desecrated and the legend only grew. Manchester claimed to have performed exorcisms, including one where he attempted to stake the vampire but settled for rituals involving garlic and holy water. Meanwhile, Ferrand's own efforts led to his arrest for grave tampering, although the case was eventually dismissed. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the tale of the Highgate vampire became a sensation and remains an iconic piece of London folklore. The final one from my homeland, Britain in case you were unsure, is the Croglin Grange vampire, originating from a story shared by Augustus Hare in the 19th century. Set in Cumberland, the tale follows a young woman named Amelia who, on a hot summer night, saw two eerie knights approaching her window. As the lights drew closer, she realized they were the eyes of a horrifying creature. The vampire broke through her window, and despite her terror, she managed to scream, alerting her brothers. They rushed to her aid, but the creature fled, disappearing into the nearby churchyard. After recovering, Amelia insisted on returning to Croglin Grange, believing the incident to be the work of a lunatic. However, the creature returned the following year, and this time her brothers were prepared. They shot the vampire in the leg as it escaped back to a crypt. The next day, they tracked it down to a vault with a damaged coffin containing a mummified figure bearing a fresh wound. To end the terror, they burned the corpse. The Empusa is a creature from Greek mythology closely tied to Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft and the underworld. Empusa is known for seducing young men by appearing as a beautiful woman, only to drain their blood and consume their flesh. She was often depicted with mismatched legs, one made of bronze and the other resembling a donkey's. Legends describe her ability to transform into various animals such as dogs or cows, allowing her to deceive and stalk her victims. The Strix is a bloodthirsty creature from Greek and Roman mythology, often depicted as a nocturnal bird resembling an owl. Legends describe it as a harbinger of evil, preying on the blood of infants and sometimes adults, particularly at night. With its sharp talons and sinister glowing eyes, the Strix was feared for its ability to slip silently through the dark, seeking out victims. Some accounts claim it could transform into a grotesque witch-like figure to deceive and ensnare its prey. The Romans believed the Strix could be warded off with protective rituals, as it was often associated with dark magic and curses. Remaining in ancient Greece, the Lamia is a beautiful woman transformed into a monstrous being. Originally, she was a queen of Libya and a lover of Zeus. However, Hera's jealousy led to a tragic turn. She killed Lamia's children, driving her mad with grief. In her anguish, Lamia became a creature that preyed on the children of others, luring them to their doom and feeding on their blood. Over time, stories also depicted her as seducing young men, using her allure to draw them in before attacking. Lamia's appearance is often that of half woman, half serpent, and was believed to have the ability to shapeshift, and some tales suggest she could remove her eyes, a gift from Zeus, allowing her to rest from her constant torment. Another from Greece is the Kallikantzaro, a creature that emerges during the 12 days between Christmas and Epiphany, which is a Christian holiday celebrated on January the 6th, marking the visit of the three wise men to the infant Jesus. Believed to be cursed, children born within this period were thought to be destined to become Kallikantzari upon death. These beings are half human, half animal, with dark, twisted features including sharp teeth, long claws, and glowing red eyes. Active only during this specific window, they emerge from caves and roam at night, attacking the living, often targeting their own families first. Known for their chaotic nature, they cause mischief and destruction, adding to their terror. To prevent a child from becoming one, parents would singe newborns' toenails over a fire, believing this would break the curse. As Epiphany approaches, the Kallikantzari retreat to their underworld domain, vanishing until next Christmas season arrives. The Bruxa from Portuguese folklore is a fearsome creature believed to have once been a witch who transformed into a blood-drinking entity. Legends say she preys on children, slipping out of her lair at night, often taking the form of a bird or other animals like rats and wolves. This ability to shapeshift allows her to move undetected and find her victims, making her a particularly dangerous figure. Although she appears as a normal woman during the day, she becomes more powerful under cover of darkness, especially between midnight and 2 a.m. Folklore describes various methods to ward off bruxa, including amulets made of steel and iron, and even placing scissors under pillows. The mulo from Romani folklore is a restless, undead being believed to arise when someone dies under unnatural circumstances or if proper funeral rites are not performed. The name mulo translates to one who is dead, and these entities are known to return to haunt those they disliked in life, often seeking out relatives who may have wronged them or neglected burial customs. Mulo are described as having long, flowing hair, pale, ghostly white clothes, but they can also display other eerie physical traits which vary by region. They attack by strangling, biting, and sucking the blood of their victims, typically starting with those closest to them. In traditional practices, to prevent someone becoming a mulo, various measures were taken, such as driving iron needles into the corpse's heart, placing steel over their eyes and mouth, or even burning the body. Moving to Asia now, we have Baital, a mysterious figure from Indian folklore, often depicted as a half-man, half-bat creature. Unlike more conventional vampires, Baitals inhabit cemeteries and hang upside down from trees, waiting to possess corpses. This gives them the power to animate the dead, using these bodies to interact with the living, making them particularly dangerous and elusive. The Rakshasa from Hindu mythology are known for shape-shifting abilities and appetite for raw flesh. Often depicted with sharp fangs, glowing red eyes, and claw-like nails, these beings could take on the appearance of animals, humans, or monstrous forms to deceive their prey. Rakshasas were notorious for their cunning and supernatural strength, and their powers were especially potent at night. In epic tales like the Ramayana and Mahabharata, they appear as formidable antagonists, with some, like the 10-headed Ravana, becoming powerful rulers. The Brahma Parush is one of the most horrifying creatures in Indian folklore, notorious for its gruesome and ritualistic methods of attack. Described as a malevolent spirit, it is said to wear the intestines of its victims like a necklace, with even more wrapped round its head as a gruesome crown. When it hunts, it begins with draining blood, which it collects in a skull to drink. Once it has consumed all the blood, it moves on to devouring the brains of its victim. The relentless creature is consumed by bloodlust and takes a sick pride in its grisly trophies. Known for its brutality, the Brahma Parush is particularly dangerous to travellers who find themselves isolated. The Jiangshi, often called the hopping vampire of Chinese folklore, is a reanimated corpse that drains the life force, or qi, from the living. Unlike traditional vampires that drink blood, Jiangshi feed on energy, making them just as dangerous. These beings are depicted with stiff, rigid bodies, which is why they move by hopping rather than walking. Often dressed in Qing dynasty attire with greenish skin and long nails, they are associated with improper burial rites or dark magic, believed to reanimate corpses into this eerie state. The Jiangshi primarily hunt at night, detecting their victims by sensing breath or movement, making it difficult to evade them. To ward them off, various traditional methods are used, including affixing Taoist talismans to their foreheads or placing sticky rice around, which is thought to neutralize their power. The Kuei is a vampiric spirit, also from Chinese folklore, believed to emerge when a person's soul fails to leave the body after death. This typically happens if someone dies a violent death, leads a dishonest life, or doesn't receive proper funeral rites. Unlike traditional vampires, the Kuei manifests as a shadowy dark figure that feeds on negative energy, often haunting places marked by death or sorrow, such as battlefields. Known for their cunning nature, Kuei spirits can curse those who try to interfere with their feeding. They avoid holy artifacts and are unable to step onto sacred ground, making these protective items crucial for keeping them at bay. In Japan, the Hanya is a powerful spirit born from intense emotions of jealousy, rage, and betrayal. According to folklore, women who are consumed by unfulfilled love or vengeance can transform into these malevolent beings, turning their anguish into a force of terror. Though not a conventional vampire, the Hanya shares vampiric traits through its ability to possess and manipulate victims, often preying on those who have wronged or betrayed it. The spirit can haunt its targets, driving them to madness, and is especially known for luring men into its grasp. The Kuketsuki, meaning blood-sucking demon in Japanese, embodies traditional vampiric traits within Japanese folklore. These creatures are typically depicted as undead beings that rise at night to feed on the life force of the living. They are known to possess supernatural abilities such as shape-shifting and enchanting their victims, which allows them to blend into society and lure unsuspecting prey. Many tales depict Kuketsuki preying on beautiful women and infants, consuming their essence to sustain their own existence. The Lang Suir in Malay folklore is a vengeful ghost of a woman who died during childbirth. These beings are associated with bloodlust and are particularly known for their desire to consume the blood of the living, especially that of infants. When a woman dies in childbirth, she may rise as a Lang Suir after 40 days in the grave, driven by a relentless hunger for revenge and sustenance. Lang Suir are depicted with long hair, which they often use to hide a gaping hole in the back of their neck, through which they feed. Unlike typical vampires, they do not have prominent fangs. Instead, they draw blood directly through this orifice. The Bajang is another from Malaysian folklore, said to take the form of a weasel or cat. This spirit is created through dark rituals involving the body of a stillborn child or a deceased family member. Bajang are known for their ability to drain the life force of their victims, especially targeting children. They can be summoned by witches and are often believed to perform tasks for their masters. The Aswang from Filipino folklore embodies a variety of supernatural traits that include vampiric elements. This shape-shifting creature is often depicted as a beautiful woman by day, but at night it transforms into a terrifying being that preys on unsuspecting victims, particularly pregnant women and young children. Aswangs have long tongues which they use to suck the blood of their victims, a characteristic that highlights their predatory nature. These entities are not confined to a single appearance. They can also take on the form of various animals, like dogs or pigs, making them cunning predators capable of infiltrating human society. To protect against Aswang, traditional methods include using garlic, salt, and other deterrents, as well as specific rituals to ward off attacks. Another from the Philippines is the Manananggal. By day it appears as a beautiful woman, seamlessly integrating into society, but as night falls it reveals its monstrous nature. The Manananggal possesses a unique ability to detach its upper body from its lower half, sprouting large bat-like wings that will allow it to fly in search of unsuspecting victims, particularly pregnant women and newborns. Once it has found its prey, the Manananggal uses its long tubular tongue to drain blood. The name Manananggal comes from the Tagalog word tanggal, meaning to remove or to separate, highlighting this creature's terrifying capacity for dismemberment. From Indonesia, there's the Jenglot. Typically measuring around 10 to 12 centimeters in length, the Jenglot resembles a deformed humanoid doll, complete with long hair, sharp teeth and nails. It is believed to be created through dark magic, possibly from the remnants of a human, and it is often associated with necromancy or black magic practices. Jenglots are said to be kept by masters who feed them with blood, either animal or human, placing it nearby for the Jenglot to absorb without directly drinking. In return, these creatures are thought to provide protection, bring good luck, or even seek revenge on enemies. Moving into the Middle East now, the Edimu is one of the oldest known entities resembling a vampire, originating from ancient Mesopotamian beliefs. These spirits were thought to be the restless souls of those who died under tragic circumstances like violent deaths or improper burials, preventing them from finding peace. Edimu were depicted as shadowy, ghost-like figures, sometimes appearing as wind or moving shadows. They would wander the earth, seeking out the living to drain their life force, especially targeting the weak or sleeping. These beings were also known to cause illness and misfortune, latching onto households and spreading chaos and drinking the blood of their victims. The Utuku from ancient Mesopotamian mythology were feared for their ability to drain the life force from their victims simply through eye contact. These malevolent spirits were believed to be the restless souls of the dead who had not received proper burial rites, causing them to wander the earth, hungry for the vitality of the living. Lurking in dark, lonely places, the Utuku would strike unsuspecting prey, leaving them weak and drained, as if their very essence had been consumed. Finishing off in Australian Aboriginal religion and mythology, we have the Yaramayahu, a curious red-skinned creature. This small frog-like being lurks in trees, waiting to pounce on unsuspecting travellers who rest beneath its branches. Instead of biting, the Yaramayahu uses the suckers on its hands and feet to drain blood from its prey, leaving them weakened but alive. After feeding, it performs a bizarre ritual, swallowing the person whole, taking a nap, and then regurgitating them. Each time this process repeats, the victim becomes smaller and takes on a reddish hue, eventually transforming into another Yaramayahu, if they're caught often enough. As we close our coffins on the dark legends of vampires from across the globe, we've delved into tales that blur the lines between myth and reality, life and death. Each of these creatures, from the shadowy forests of Europe to the sun-drenched landscapes of Africa, tell a story of fear, hunger, and transformation. These beings aren't just monsters lurking in the dark, they embody humanity's deepest anxieties about morality, the unknown, and the predatory nature that hides within. Through their myths, we see reflections of cultural fears, taboos, and the enduring fascination with what lies beyond the grave. From the mist-covered moors to the hidden groves, across the lands of myth and legend, the Fae are watching, waiting, and sometimes lurking. This is Pantheon mythology, and these are the Fae creatures from across mythology and folklore. Let's start things off with fairies, the most iconic of all Fae creatures. Often depicted as small ethereal beings with delicate wings, fairies are believed to inhabit a hidden world alongside our own, where they hold sway over nature, seasons, and even human fate. While some are kind-hearted, offering blessings or guidance, others are more mischievous, dangerous, and downright sinister. The Banshee, a spectral fae from Irish folklore, is known for her chilling wail that serves as a harbinger of death. She is said to appear near the homes of those about to lose a family member, her mournful cry piercing the silence of the night. Descriptions of the Banshee vary. Some see her as a young, ethereal woman with flowing hair, while others describe an aged hag with hollow, weeping eyes. Often dressed in white or grey, her presence is a terrifying reminder of the inevitable. The Banshee's keening is said to echo through the countryside, an unearthly sound that freezes those who hear it, knowing it foretells sorrow close at hand. The Banshee, from Scottish folklore, is another seen as a harbinger of death. Known as the washerwoman at the ford, she appears near desolate streams or fords, washing the blood-stained garments of those destined to die. Descriptions of the Banshee vary. Some depict her as a hag with a single nostril, a protruding tooth, and webbed feet, while others describe her as a small, pitiful figure resembling a child. Her presence is both ominous and sorrowful, embodying the inevitability of death. In some tales, if approached cautiously, she can reveal the names of those about to die and may even grant wishes. The Blue Cap is a fae entity from English and Scottish folklore, particularly associated with mining communities. Manifesting as a small, blue flame, the Blue Cap is believed to inhabit mines, guiding and assisting miners. Unlike many fae, Blue Caps are considered friendly, leading miners to rich mineral deposits and warning of potential dangers such as cave-ins. In return for their assistance, they expect fair compensation, typically equal to a miner's wage, left in a designated part of the mine. Overpayment is returned, and underpayment results in the Blue Cap ceasing its helpful activities. The Brownie, also from Scottish and English folklore, is renowned for its nocturnal assistance with domestic chores. Typically depicted as small, shaggy, and brown-skinned, brownies are said to inhabit homes and farms, performing tasks such as cleaning and organizing while the inhabitants sleep. They are generally benevolent, but can become mischievous if offended. To maintain their favor, families traditionally leave offerings like milk, cream, or baked goods. However, gifting them clothing is believed to drive them away permanently. Across Europe, changelings were feared as a sinister replacement left by a fae, stealing away human infants in the dead of night. These fae children, frail and unnatural, were believed to bring misfortune to the families they infiltrated. Their hollow cries, unnatural intelligence, or eerie silence were signs of their otherworldly origin. Parents who suspected their child had been taken away by the Fae would resort to desperate and often cruel rituals to expose the changeling, believing only then might their true child be returned. These tales painted a bleak picture of helplessness, where even a family's most cherished members were not safe from the reach of the Fae. The Cluricorn, a solitary Fae from Irish folklore, is infamous for its love of drinking and mischief. Often dressed in red with a rosy complexion, he is said to haunt wine cellars and pubs, indulging in nightly revelries. Unlike his industrious cousin, the leprechaun, he prefers causing trouble, such as riding sheep and dogs like horses until they collapse from exhaustion. While generally harmless, his temper can lead to chaos, spoiling wine, or creating disturbances if disrespected. Treating him with respect, or offering a fine vintage, might just keep his antics at bay. The Dearg Dua, translating to red bloodsucker in Irish, is a vampiric fae who was once a beautiful woman forced into a loveless marriage by her father, leading to her untimely death. Rising from her grave, she sought vengeance by seducing men and draining their blood. Unlike traditional vampires, the Dearg Dua doesn't fear sunlight or religious symbols, making her a relentless predator. To prevent her from rising, locals would place stones over her grave, a practice believed to keep her spirit at rest. The Gan Connor, translating to love talker in Irish, is known for his seductive nature. Often depicted as a charming, handsome man, he is said to wander the countryside, enticing young women with his enchanting words and melodies. A distinctive feature is his ever-present clay pipe, from which he smokes and weaves spellbinding tales. Encounters with the Gan Connor are believed to lead to misfortune, as those who fall under his spell may waste away from unrequited love or become ensnared in tragic circumstances. Leprechauns are iconic fae, seen as small, bearded men clad in green coats and hats. Renowned for their mischievous nature, they are solitary fae who spend their time crafting shoes and hoarding gold. According to legend, they conceal their treasures at the end of a rainbow, making it nearly impossible to find. Cunning and elusive, leprechauns are known to play tricks on those who attempt to capture them, often leading pursuers astray. Pixies are diminutive fae from British folklore. Particularly associated with the moorlands of Devon and Cornwall, they are depicted as small, elven beings clad in green. They are known for their playful and mischievous nature. Pixies delight in leading travellers astray, a phenomenon known as being pixie-led, causing disorientation and confusion. They are also fond of dancing in moonlit glades and engaging in light-hearted pranks. The puka is known for its unpredictable nature. Often appearing as a black horse with glowing eyes, the puka can take the form of a goat, dog, or even a human. While sometimes benevolent, offering advice or guidance, it is more commonly associated with mischief, leading travellers astray or causing minor havoc. In some tales, the puka is said to take unwary riders on wild nocturnal journeys, only to deposit them far from home by morning. The Red Cap is a malevolent fae notorious for its bloodthirsty nature. Dwelling in the ruins of castles where wicked deeds have occurred, the Red Cap is depicted as a short, thick-set old man with long, prominent teeth, skinny fingers armed with talons like eagles, large fiery red eyes, grisly hair streaming down his shoulders, iron boots, and a pikestaff in his left hand and a red cap on his head. This sinister creature is said to murder travellers who seek refuge in its lair, soaking its cap in the blood of its victims, which gives it a crimson hue. Unaffected by human strength, the red cap can only be driven away by words of scripture or the brandishing of a crucifix, causing it to utter a dismal yell and vanish in flames, leaving behind a large tooth. The Eashi, also known as the Shi, are a supernatural race in Irish and Scottish mythology, often compared to fairies or elves. Believed to inhabit an invisible world that coexists with the human realm, they're said to dwell in the mounds or hills, which serve as portals to their otherworldly domain. The Ishi are considered to be remnants of the ancient deities, the Tuatha De Danann, who retreated to the other world upon the arrival of the Milesians. They are known to interact with humans, sometimes offering assistance, but can also be vengeful if disrespected. Traditionally, offerings of food and drink are left to appease them, and their abodes are treated with great respect to avoid incurring their wrath. The Sluagh are malevolent fae, depicted as a host of the unforgiven dead. According to legend, they are the souls of sinners who, upon death, are cast out and become restless spirits. These spirits are said to travel in groups, resembling a flight of birds, and are believed to steal the souls of the living. The Sluagh are considered dangerous, and their presence is often associated with misfortune or death. In some tales, they are said to enter homes through open windows, seeking to capture the souls of the living. To protect oneself from the Sluagh, it is advised to keep windows closed at night and to avoid being outside after sunset. The Lian Shi is a dark and alluring, seductive and dangerous muse. While she is known to inspire exceptional creativity and artistic brilliance in poets, musicians and artists, her gifts come at a cost. The Lian Shi feeds on the life force of her lovers, draining them of vitality as they bask in their newfound talent. Her lovers are often drawn into a passionate, intense affair that ends tragically, as they burn brightly with inspiration before quickly fading away. She embodies the perilous side of artistic genius, often the allure of immortality through creativity, but at the price of one's soul. The Spriggan is a grotesque fae, known to be a withered old man. These creatures are believed to be the spirits of ancient giants, retaining their immense strength despite their diminutive size. Spriggans are notorious for guarding buried treasure and ancient ruins, particularly in the West Penwith region of Cornwall. They are known to cause mischief, such as raising sudden whirlwinds to terrify travellers, sending storms to blight crops, and sometimes stealing mortal children, leaving their ugly changelings in their place. The Tylwyth Teg, meaning fair family in Welsh, are the fairy folk of Welsh folklore. They're often depicted as fair-haired ethereal beings who inhabit natural features such as caves, mountains, and ancient groves. Known for their enchanting beauty and magical abilities, the Tylwyth Teg are believed to dance in moonlit glades, creating fairy rings, and are said to bestow riches upon those they favour. However, they are also known to be mischievous, sometimes kidnapping human children and leaving changelings in their place. To appease them, offerings of milk and cream are traditionally left out, and it is considered disrespectful to speak ill of them, as this may incur their wrath. Dwarves, a species from Germanic and Scandinavian folklore, are short, stocky beings with a deep connection to the earth. They're renowned for their exceptional craftsmanship, particularly mining and metalwork, and are frequently associated with mountains and underground realms. In early literary sources, only males are explicitly referred to as dwarves. Dwarves are known for their guardianship of animals, freeing wildlife from traps and protecting them when needed. Elves are a diverse group of fae, often depicted as ethereal beings with a deep connection to nature and magic. They are typically divided into two main categories: light elves, who are benevolent and graceful, and dark elves, who are more sinister and often linked to the underground or hidden realms. Elves are known for their beauty, longevity, and exceptional magical abilities. In folklore, they are also associated with mischief, sometimes causing ailments such as elf sickness. The Hulda is a captivating fae, known to be a beautiful woman with a distinctive animal feature, a cow's or fox's tail. In Norwegian traditions, she is known as the Huldra, while in Swedish folklore, she is referred to as the Skogsra, meaning forest spirit. The Hulda is known for her enchanting beauty and seductive nature, luring men into the forest, where they may become lost or trapped forever. In some tales, she seeks a human husband, but marrying one often comes with its own set of challenges and consequences. Kobolds are mischievous fae from Germanic folklore, often inhabiting homes and mines.
In households, they are known to assist with chores such as tidying kitchens, but can also play pranks like hiding tools or tripping people. To maintain their favor, offerings like sweet milk and bread are left out. In mines, kobolds are believed to be guardians of treasures, sometimes leading miners to riches or causing accidents to protect their hoards. Their behavior varies, some helpful, while others are troublesome. Moss people are small, moss-covered fairy creatures often found in forests or heathlands. Known for their grey, old-looking and hairy appearances, they blend in seamlessly with their natural surroundings, sometimes lying on the moss-covered ground to remain hidden. These fae are both helpful and mischievous, offering guidance or performing tasks for humans, but they can also become malevolent if disrespected. The moss people are connected to the Wild Hunt, a supernatural procession in Germanic folklore, embodying the unpredictable and mysterious nature of the fae world. Nixies are a type of water fae with the ability to shapeshift. Known for their captivating music, the male version sometimes takes the form of a handsome man to lure women into the water, where they meet a tragic end. While some stories portray Nixies as kind-hearted, offering protection or helping those in need, others depict them as dangerous tricksters, using their music to lure and drown unsuspecting victims. Fafaday, a French fae, is a small mischievous creature standing about half a meter tall, who are wrinkled, brown-skinned beings that wear tattered brown clothing or go naked. They are known to be helpful rather than malicious, though playful and sometimes mischievous. Farfadays like to tend horses, grooming them or weaving ringlets into their manes. They live in woodland, but also attach themselves to a neighbouring farm or homestead, completing odd tasks in the field in return for a bowl of milk or cream left on the doorstep at night. Korrigans are fae from Breton folklore, known for their small stature and mischievous nature. They inhabit forests, particularly the Brocéliande forest, and are closely tied to water sources like springs and rivers. Korrigans are considered descendants of ancient druidesses who resisted the spread of Christianity in Brittany. They are known for their enchanting singing and dancing, often using these talents to lure humans, especially men, into the forest. In some stories, their allure is sexual, with Korrigans seducing men to trap their hearts, dooming them to die from love. The Fossagrim is a malevolent fae known for its sinister nature and dangerous allure. This water spirit inhabits waterfalls and rivers, luring unsuspecting individuals with its enchanting music played on the hardanger fiddle. The Fossagrim's melodies are said to be so captivating that they can mesmerize listeners, drawing them into the water to drown. To protect oneself from the Fossagrim's influence, it is advised to avoid areas where it is known to dwell and be cautious of its enchanting music. The Shana is a fae from Asturian mythology in Spain, renowned for her extraordinary beauty and ethereal presence. She is believed to inhabit natural water sources such as fountains, rivers, and waterfalls, particularly those with pure water. Shanas are known to offer treasures, including gold or silver, to those they deem worthy, and their hypnotic songs can be heard during spring and summer nights. Individuals with pure souls who hear the Shana song are filled with a sense of peace and love, while those with impure souls may feel suffocated or driven insane. Nymphs are a race of fae that embody the spirits of nature, each associated with specific natural elements and features. In Greek mythology, they are depicted as beautiful ethereal beings inhabiting forests, rivers, mountains, and other natural landscapes. Nymphs are often portrayed as young women, embodying the vitality and beauty of the natural world. They are known for their close connection to the environment, playing roles as caretakers and protectors of their domains. Nymphs are generally kind-hearted, offering assistance to humans who show respect for nature, but they can become vengeful if their habitats are threatened or disrespected. Menehune are native fae of Hawaii, described as small dwarf-like beings inhabiting the forests and hidden valleys of the Hawaiian Islands far from human settlements. Known for their exceptional craftsmanship, the Menehune are credited with constructing temples, fish ponds, roads, canoes, and houses. Some of these structures, such as the Menehune fish pond on Kauai, still exist today, showcasing their remarkable engineering skills. The Menehune are nocturnal builders working under the cover of darkness to complete their masterpieces. If they fail to finish their work by dawn, they leave it unfinished. Their favorite foods are bananas and fish, and they're said to be invisible to all but their children and humans connected to them. The Lady of the Lake is a powerful fey figure from Arthurian legend, known for her mystical abilities and significant role in the tales of King Arthur. She's often depicted as an enchantress who bestows Excalibur upon Arthur, solidifying his claim to the throne, and in some versions, she is also mother of Lancelot. Her character varies across different narratives, ranging from a benevolent figure who aids Arthur and his knights to a more enigmatic and capricious one. The Will-o'-the-Wisp is a spectral fae known for its eerie, flickering light that leads travellers astray. These elusive lights are often seen over marshes, bogs, or swamps, appearing as small glowing orbs that mimic the appearance of a lantern. When approached, the Will-o'-the-Wisp is said to move away, drawing the unwary deeper into treacherous terrain. This phenomenon is also known by various regional names, including jack-o'-lantern and ignis fatuus. In folklore, the Will-o'-the-Wisp is often associated with mischievous spirits or the souls of the dead. Throughout today's journey into the fey creatures from mythology and folklore, we've encountered beings that are as mysterious as they are mesmerizing. These fey, woven into the fabric of countless cultures, embody the fears, desires, and wonders that have shaped human belief for centuries. With each creature, we step closer to a world where the boundaries of the natural and supernatural blur, and where every flicker of light or whisper in the dark might reveal something far more profound.
Witches transcend time, blending fear, wonder, magic, and mystery. This is Pantheon mythology, and these are the witches from mythology and folklore. Circe, often considered one of the earliest and most iconic witches in Greek mythology, was renowned for her mastery of magical arts. She was the daughter of the sun god Helios and the ocean nymph Perse, giving her both divine and magical heritage. Living on the remote island of Aiaia, Circe used her vast knowledge of potions, herbs, and incantations to wield incredible power, most famously transforming men into animals. Her ability to manipulate and control the natural world through sorcery made her a formidable and dangerous figure in myth. The best-known tale of Circe comes from Homer's Odyssey, where Odysseus and his men arrived on her island. She used her magic to turn his crew into swine, reflecting her cunning and her role as a manipulator of human fate. However, Odysseus, with the help of the god Hermes, resisted her spell by using a magical herb called moly. Impressed by his resilience, Circe eventually freed his men and offered him guidance for his journey. Despite her dangerous reputation, this encounter also portrays her as a complex character, capable of love and assistance. Medea, one of the most complex and powerful witches in Greek mythology, is both revered and feared for her mastery of sorcery. As the granddaughter of Helios, the sun god, the daughter of King Aeetes of Colchis, Medea was born into a family of divine magic. Her expertise in witchcraft was unparalleled, and she is often depicted as a practitioner of dark and dangerous spells, capable of controlling life, death, and fate. Medea's magic was essential to Jason's quest for the Golden Fleece. She provided him with potions to protect him from the fire-breathing bulls and enchanted the serpent guarding the fleece, showcasing her power to manipulate both creatures and circumstances. Medea's role as a witch goes far beyond simply aiding Jason. Her cunning and magical prowess turned deadly when she orchestrated the murder of her own brother, Apsyrtus, in a gruesome display of fratricide to delay her father's pursuit. Her use of spells and manipulation reached its peak when she convinced the daughters of King Pelias to kill their father, demonstrating how Medea's magic could deceive and destroy. Those acts cement her legacy as a witch who used her magic not only to help those she loved, but also to exact brutal vengeance. Her magical abilities culminate in her most infamous act, the slaying of her own offspring. After Jason abandons her for Glauce, Medea concocts a plan of revenge using poisoned gifts, a robe and a crown, that lead to the agonizing deaths of Glauce and her father, King Creon. To ensure Jason suffers the deepest grief, Medea turns her magic inward, committing the horrific act of eliminating her children, thus transforming herself into the archetype of a vengeful witch whose powers are driven by both love and wrath. Hecate, the Greek goddess of witchcraft, is one of the most enigmatic and powerful figures in mythology. She is associated with magic, necromancy, the night, and the crossroads, where offerings were often made to honour her. Her parents are most commonly identified as the Titans, Perses, and Asteria, though her origins vary across different myths. As the goddess of boundaries, Hecate wielded the power to guard both the living and the dead, as well as control over the realms of heaven, earth, and sea. Hecate's role as a witch is deeply tied to her ability to navigate and control liminal spaces, particularly the boundaries between life and death. She's often depicted with two torches, symbolizing her role as a guide both in the physical world and the underworld. Her strong association with necromancy, the summoning of the dead, made her feared yet a revered figure. As the protector of the doorways and crossroads, Hecate was also worshipped in households where her images were placed at entrances to ward off evil spirits. One of the most iconic representations of Hecate is a triple-bodied goddess, symbolizing her ability to see in all directions and her dominion over the past, present, and future. This imagery highlights her connection with the phases of the moon, waxing full and waning, further linking her to witchcraft and the cycles of life and death. Though often seen as a dark figure, Hecate was a protector of women and children, easing the transition between life and the underworld, much like she did for Persephone after her abduction by Hades. Grimhilda, also known as Grimhild, was a cunning and manipulative sorceress in Norse mythology, best known for her role in the Vurlsunga saga. Married to King Gyoki of Burgundy, she was the mother of 3 sons, Gunnar, Hogni, and Guthorm, and a daughter, Gudrun. Grimhilda is infamous for her use of magic to manipulate events and ensure her family's success, most notably through her use of a magical potion to enchant the hero Sigurd. In the saga, Grimhilda gives Sigurd a potion that causes him to forget his previous love, Brynhilda, and instead marry her daughter Gudrun. This act of manipulation sets off a tragic chain of events, as Sigurd later helps Grimhilda's son, Gunnar, win Brynhilda's hand in marriage by tricking her, an act that leads to betrayal, heartbreak, and eventually death. Grimhilda's magical prowess and cunning make her one of the darker figures in Norse mythology. She used her sorcery not only to deceive, but also to control the fates of those around her, showing the destructive power of witchcraft when driven by ambition and desire for power. Angerboda, a significant yet mysterious figure in Norse mythology, is often depicted as a giantess and a powerful witch. Her name translates to the one who brings grief, fitting given her association with chaos and destruction. Angerboda is best known as the mother of 3 of the most fearsome beings in Norse mythology: Fenrir, the great wolf, Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, and Hel, the goddess of the underworld. These children, born from the union with the trickster god Loki, each play crucial roles in Ragnarok, the prophesied end of the world. As a witch, Angerboda is tied to powerful forces of primal chaos and destruction. She resided in the Ironwood, a dark and dangerous forest in Jotunheim, the land of the giants. Angerboda is often portrayed as a seeress, possessing the ability to foresee the future, including the inevitable doom of the gods. Her magical abilities and prophetic knowledge made her a figure to be feared by the gods, especially after it was prophesied that her children would bring out their destruction. Baba Yaga, one of the most iconic witches in Slavic folklore, is a complex figure known for her dual nature as both a villain and a potential guide. She is typically depicted as an old, grotesque woman with iron teeth, bony legs, and a crooked nose, living in a hut that stands on chicken legs which can move and spin at her command. Her home is surrounded by a fence made of human bones topped with skulls, furthering her terrifying image. Those who dare enter her dominion must pass through this eerie barrier, signalling the dangerous territory they are about to enter. In many tales, Baba Yaga is feared for her role as a child abductor and cannibal. She is known to steal children who wander too far into the forest, intending to eat them. One famous story involves 2 children sent to Baba Yaga's hut, where she gives them impossible tasks. If they fail, she plans to cook them in her oven and eat them, much like the Hansel and Gretel fairy tale. Despite her dark and dangerous nature, Baba Yaga can also be a source of wisdom for those who prove themselves worthy by completing her difficult tasks. Baba Yaga's connection to nature further deepens her mystique. She commands 3 riders, 1 white, 1 red, and 1 black, representing day, the sun, and night, respectively. This association with the natural cycles of life reflects her dual role as both nurturer and destroyer. She is not simply an evil witch, but a force of nature that tests those who encounter her, sometimes helping those who can meet her challenges and punishing those who cannot. While Baba Yaga is widely recognized across Slavic folklore, her lesser-known counterpart, Baba Roga, emerges from the South Slavic traditions, particularly in the Balkans. Like Baba Yaga, Baba Roga is portrayed as a fearsome, old, witch-like figure, often used to frighten disobedient children. The name Roga means horned in many Slavic languages, hinting at her monstrous appearance, though descriptions of her vary depending on the region. She's usually depicted as a crone who hides in the dark and waits to snatch misbehaving children. Baba Roga, like Baba Yaga, inhabits isolated, wild areas and symbolizes the dangers lurking beyond the safe boundaries of the village or home. However, while Baba Yaga is more often a nuanced figure, sometimes aiding those who pass her tests, Baba Roga is generally viewed as a malevolent being. She has no interest in helping or testing her victims. Her sole purpose is to punish and consume those who fall into her grasp. In contrast to Baba Yaga's more elaborate stories and mythology, Baba Roga remains primarily a figure of cautionary tales. Parents often invoke her name to keep children from wandering into dangerous places or misbehaving, associating her with the darkness and unknown threats of the natural world. While she lacks the same depth of character as Baba Yaga, Baba Roga plays a crucial role in South Slavic folklore as a symbol of fear and discipline. The Morrigan from Celtic mythology, while not fitting the typical image of a witch, is deeply intertwined with magic, prophecy, and shapeshifting, traits often associated with witches. Known primarily as the goddess of war, fate, and sovereignty, the Morrigan could appear in various forms, particularly as a crow or raven, and was believed to control life and death. She was a triple goddess, often linked with Barv and Marka, and her ability to transform and foresee the future ties her closely to magical practices. Her role in Irish mythology is centred around influencing battles, and she is most famously linked to the hero Cú Chulainn, whom she both helps and curses. Using her shape-shifting abilities, she appears to him as different animals and even as an old woman, all as part of her efforts to manipulate the events leading to his death. Her connection to ravens and crows, symbols of death and battle, reinforces her role as a guide for warriors to the afterlife, much like a witch controlling the forces of life and death. Though she may not be viewed as a traditional witch, the Morrigan's use of magic, transformation, and her influence over death situates her as a powerful supernatural figure. Her ability to shape the fates of both mortals and gods, along with her ties to prophecy, highlights the complex nature of her power in Irish mythology. The Cailleach, often known as the Witch of Ben Cruachan in Scottish mythology, is a powerful and ancient figure who commands the forces of nature. From her perch on Ben Cruachan, she is said to have controlled the waters of Loch Awe, holding them back until they flooded the valley below. In some versions of the story, her accidental release of the waters created the loch and river that exist today, solidifying her role as a force that both shapes and transforms the landscape. This association with mountains, water, and weather highlights her control over the natural world, much like a witch who wields magic to manipulate her surroundings. Her influence extends beyond Ben Cruachan, as she is associated with numerous sacred sites across Scotland and Ireland. Mountains, stones, and other natural formations are said to be the work of the Cailleach, solidifying her status as a witch-like figure with the ability to control the elements. Muma Paduri, the mother of the forest in Romanian folklore, is a fearsome figure deeply connected to the wild, untamed woods. She is typically portrayed as an old, grotesque woman whose appearance mirrors the twisted and gnarled trees of the forest. Known for her malevolent nature, Muma Paduri preys on those who disrespect the forest or wander too far into her domain, often luring them deeper into the woods where they become lost and confused. In some versions of the tale, she is infamous for stealing children, a theme common in Eastern European folklore. Despite her fearsome reputation, she also serves as a guardian of the forest, a figure whose power is intrinsically tied to the health and vitality of the natural world. She can be placated by those who respect the forest and offer proper rituals, guiding them safely through her territory. However, for those who harm her sacred domain, Muma Paduri's wrath is swift and terrifying. Her powers allow her to control the elements, summoning fog and wind to disorient travellers. Holda, also known as Frau Holle, is a key figure in Germanic folklore, particularly associated with winter, household duties and spinning. Often depicted as an elderly woman with white or silver hair, she is said to reward the diligent and punish the lazy, especially when it comes to domestic tasks like spinning and weaving. This connection to spinning ties Holda to magical practices, as spinning was considered a mystical art with ties to fate in folklore. Holda's influence extends to the weather, with stories suggesting that when she shakes out her featherbed, the feathers falling down from it create snow. This symbolic act of creating snow highlights her role as a controller of winter and its elements, particularly important for rural communities reliant on favourable conditions for agriculture. In some legends, Holda is associated with the Wild Hunt, a ghostly procession of spirits and witches that occurs during the winter. This nocturnal ride emphasises the more fearsome side of Holda, showcasing her as both a benevolent and a darker figure in Germanic mythology. Morgane le Fay, one of the most famous figures in Arthurian legend, is a powerful sorceress and half-sister to King Arthur. Though her character has evolved over centuries, she is most often depicted as a complex figure with magical abilities tied to healing, shapeshifting, and enchantments. Originally introduced in early texts, like Geoffrey of Monmouth's Vita Merlini, Morgane is portrayed as a healer and guardian of Arthur, residing in the magical Isle of Avalon. However, as the legends progressed, Morgane took a more antagonistic role. She frequently used her magic to challenge Arthur and his knights, conspiring with enemies like Mordred, and attempting to steal Arthur's sword, Excalibur. Her magical prowess was feared, often reflecting medieval suspicions about female power, as Morgane used enchantments and potions to manipulate those around her. Despite often being cast as a villain, Morgane le Fay is a more nuanced character than a simple antagonist. In many stories, her motivations stem from feelings of betrayal or the desire to assert her autonomy in a patriarchal world. This complexity has made her a symbol of female strength and independence in modern interpretations, such as Marion Zimmer Bradley's The Mists of Avalon, where she is reimagined as a heroine fighting for justice in a male-dominated society. Yamawaba is a prominent witch-like figure in Japanese folklore, deeply connected to the wilderness and untamed mountain regions of Japan. She's often depicted as an old woman with long, unkempt hair and a tattered kimono, living alone in remote areas. Yamauba's character embodies the duality of nature. She can be both a nurturing figure, helping those lost in the mountains, and a malevolent force who deceives and consumes her victims. In some stories, she lures travellers to her mountain hut in the guise of hospitality, only to reveal her monstrous nature at night. One of the most famous tales involving Yamauba is the story of Kintaro, a legendary child hero whom she raised in the mountains. In this tale, she's portrayed as a nurturing mother figure, teaching Kintaro the ways of the forest. However, in other stories, Yamauba is a dangerous figure who steals children or transforms them into spirits called Yamawaro. Lilith, often considered one of the earliest witch-like figures in Jewish mythology, is depicted as a dangerous, rebellious woman who wields supernatural powers. According to some traditions, Lilith was Adam's first wife, created from the same earth as him. However, when she refused to submit to Adam's authority, she fled the Garden of Eden, using her powers to escape and becoming demonized in later stories. Her defiance, coupled with her abilities, establishes her as a powerful and independent figure, embodying many traits associated with witches. In folklore, Lilith is frequently portrayed as a nocturnal figure who preys upon the vulnerable. She is said to steal children from their cradles and seduce men, often using her magic to deceive and manipulate. Her association with the night, shapeshifting, and control over dark forces reinforces her witch-like identity. Throughout many tales, Lilith is feared for her magical abilities and her rejection of societal norms. Despite her dark reputation, Lilith's image has evolved over time. In modern interpretations, she is often seen as a symbol of female autonomy and resistance, admired for rejecting subservience and embracing her own power. Aswang is one of the most feared and versatile creatures in Filipino folklore, often linked to witchcraft due to its shape-shifting abilities and supernatural powers. The aswang is considered a witch-like being, able to transform into animals such as birds, dogs, or pigs to conceal its true nature. By day, aswangs live among humans, blending seamlessly into rural communities, but at night, they reveal their monstrous forms. Their dual existence, hiding in plain sight while practicing dark magic, closely aligns them with witchcraft. The aswang's most fearsome trait is its predatory focus on vulnerable targets, particularly children and pregnant women. In some stories, it is a viscera sucker, using its long, proboscis-like tongue to steal the organs of its victims or prey on fetuses. This dark, magical ability further cements its reputation as a witch-like entity. Aswangs are also described as possessing magical powers during the day, enabling them to secretly practice their sorcery while maintaining a facade of normality. At night, their powers intensify, making them highly dangerous. Their connection to witchcraft is emphasized in many tales, where the aswang's dark magic is blamed for sickness, death, and other misfortunes in rural communities. The aswang's abilities to shapeshift, deceive, and use magic place it firmly within the realm of witchcraft, making it a feared figure not only for its monstrous nature, but also for the potent magic it wields. La Befana, a key figure in Italian folklore, is often depicted as a friendly, grandmotherly witch who brings gifts to children in the night of January the 5th, the eve of Epiphany. Flying on a broomstick, she visits households across Italy, leaving candy, fruit, or small toys for well-behaved children, while naughty children receive lumps of coal. Though she resembles a traditional witch, La Befana is beloved for her generosity, marking her as a unique figure in folklore. Her legend is deeply intertwined with Christian and pagan traditions. According to one story, the three wise men stopped at La Befana's house while searching for baby Jesus. They invited her to join their journey, but she declined, only to regret it later. Ever since, La Befana has wandered around the world searching for the Christ child, delivering gifts to children along the way. Jenny Greenteeth is a terrifying figure from English folklore, often described as a water hag or witch. She lurks in bodies of water such as ponds, canals, and rivers, particularly in the northwest of England, including Lancashire and Merseyside. Jenny is usually depicted as having green skin, sharp teeth, and long, sinewy arms, which she uses to drag unsuspecting victims, usually children or the elderly, into the water to drown them. Jenny Greenteeth's legend was often used as a cautionary tale to keep children away from dangerous waters covered in duckweed. This dense vegetation could easily hide the true depth of water, making it appear safe when it was anything but. The story of Jenny hiding under the water ready to snatch children became an effective way to warn them about the real dangers of drowning. In some versions of the legend, Jenny is also said to perch in the branches of trees at night, moaning and watching for her next victim. Nellie Longarms is a witch-like figure from English folklore, often depicted as a malevolent water spirit with supernatural abilities, known for her extremely long arms. Nellie uses her magical powers to drag children and sometimes adults into wells, ponds, or rivers. Like many witches in folklore, her primary power lies in her ability to manipulate her surroundings and lure her victims with otherworldly charm before drowning them. Her ties to water and her sinister control over those who come too close to her make a dangerous witch-like entity in the tradition of water hags. Nellie Longarms doesn't just rely on her physical strength. She uses magic to ensnare her victims. Often she appears at night, making strange, otherworldly noises to lure people toward her lair. Much like other witches from English folklore, she combines physical and magical prowess, disorientating her prey before pulling them into the water. Her reputation as a supernatural entity who can appear in unexpected places like doorways adds to her eerie, witch-like persona. Black Annis is a terrifying figure from English folklore, often described as a witch or hag. She is infamous for her blue skin, sharp claws, and hunger for human flesh, especially that of children. Black Annis is said to dwell in a cave in the Dane Hills of Leicestershire, which she carved out herself using her claws. At night, she hunts for children and livestock, dragging her victims back to her cave, where she hangs their skins to dry on a nearby oak tree. Her legend was often used to frighten misbehaving children. According to local tales, Black Annis would reach through windows to snatch her children who wandered too far at night. Her horrific screeches could be heard echoing across the hills, warning people to stay indoors after dark. Some houses in the region even had small windows, allegedly designed to prevent her from reaching inside. While Black Annis shares some qualities with other figures in witch folklore, such as her magical powers and ability to cause harm, her origins may be linked to older pagan deities, potentially representing a distorted memory of an ancient goddess. Grýla is a fearsome figure from Icelandic folklore, known as a witch-like ogress associated with the Christmas season. According to legend, Grýla lives in a mountain cave with her lazy husband, Lepa-Luthi, and their 13 mischievous sons, the Yule lads. Each Christmas, she descends from the mountains to search for naughty children, capturing them in a sack to make them into a stew. Grýla's story has been passed down since at least the 13th century, where she was originally a general figure of terror before becoming connected with Christmas traditions in Iceland. Apparel is a fearsome demoness from Melanesian folklore known for her deadly allure and deep connection to marshlands. She is often described as a beautiful woman who lures unsuspecting men into swamps or bogs with her enchanting appearance. Once they are close enough, she traps them by causing reeds and plants to grow around them, ensuring there is no escape. While she appears as a seductive figure, her true nature is that of a predatory, witch-like being, closely associated with the wild, untamed forces of nature. Apparel is often accompanied by a group of young female servants who assist her in her deadly tasks. Lavoisin, born Catherine Monvoisin, around 1640, was a notorious fortune-teller, sorceress and poisoner in 17th century France. At the height of her influence, she was involved in the infamous affair of the Poissons, a scandal that rocked the court of King Louis XIV. Lavoisin was known for providing a variety of services, including potions, amulets, and black magic rituals such as black masses, where clients would pray to Satan to fulfill their darkest desires. Her clientele included members of French high society, most notably Madame de Montespan, the king's mistress. Lavoisin operated a sophisticated network of fortune-tellers and poisoners, helping clients solve personal problems through alleged witchcraft. She sold love potions, poisons, and even arranged murders, making her both feared and sought after. Her involvement in the dark arts led to her arrest and eventual execution in 1680, when she was burned at the stake for witchcraft and murder, along with several of her associates. The Witch of Endor is one of the most enigmatic figures in the Hebrew Bible, particularly mentioned in the book of 1 Samuel. Though not described in great detail, she's presented as a medium or necromancer living in the town of Endor, within the land of the tribe of Manasseh. Despite King Saul's earlier banishment of all practitioners of witchcraft, divination, and necromancy from Israel, the witch's reputation remained strong enough that Saul's servants immediately knew where to find her when he sought forbidden guidance. The witch is approached by a disguised King Saul, who is desperate for advice before his battle with the Philistines. Initially wary, she recognizes the danger in performing necromancy, as it was banned under penalty of death. Nevertheless, Saul convinces her to summon the spirit of the prophet Samuel. Though the witch is initially frightened when she successfully brings up Samuel's spirit, the Witch of Endor represents a type of figure deeply feared and condemned in ancient times, one who could communicate with the dead, an ability viewed as both powerful and dangerous. Despite her fear of punishment for practicing her craft, her ability to successfully summon Samuel indicates her significant supernatural skill, aligning her with the traditions of witches who possess deep knowledge of necromancy and divination. The Bell Witch is one of the most famous supernatural figures in American folklore, originating from the early 19th century in Robertson County, Tennessee. The haunting is said to have terrorized the Bell family, particularly farmer John Bell and his daughter Betsy, for several years, starting in 1817. While the entity was referred to as a witch, its true nature remains ambiguous. It behaved more like a malevolent poltergeist. Known for causing physical harm and playing tricks on the family, the entity grew more aggressive over time, targeting both John and Betsy with physical attacks and verbal threats. The entity claimed to be the spirit of Kate Batts, a neighbour of the Bells, leading it to be referred to as Kate, or the Bell Witch. The witch was especially hostile towards John Bell, allegedly poisoning him in 1820 and taking credit for his death. In contrast, it showed kindness to John's wife, Lucy Bell, even bringing her fruit when she was ill. The Bell Witch's torment continued for years, attracting visitors from across the country, including future President Andrew Jackson, who reportedly fled the Bell property after encountering the entity. Isabel Gaudy was a Scottish woman who became one of the most famous accused witches of the 17th century, primarily due to her extraordinarily detailed confessions in 1662. Living in the village of Aldern, Isabel claimed to have been involved in witchcraft for over 15 years, providing vivid and extensive accounts of her activities. Her confessions included making a pact with the devil and flying through the air to attend coven meetings where they cast spells and performed magical rites. Isabel's testimony was unique in its depth and imagination, including claims that she could transform into animals such as hares or cats to avoid detection. She described the use of elf arrows, believed to cause illness or death, and spoke of flying to the fairy realm of Elfane, where she interacted with supernatural beings like the king and queen of the fairies. Some of her spells and charms were used to harm her enemies, while others suggested she may also have practiced healing magic. Her confessions were given without apparent torture, and they puzzled historians with debates surrounding her mental state and whether her stories were the result of coercion or psychosis or deliberate embellishment. Despite her confessions, there is no clear record of her execution, though it is believed she was likely strangled and burned, in keeping with the common punishment for convicted witches during that period. The Tlahuelpuchi is a vampiric shape-shifting witch from Mexican folklore, particularly rooted in the region of Tlaxcala. This feared creature is known for its ability to transform into various animals such as turkeys, dogs, or vultures in order to hunt its prey. Most Tlahuelpuchis are female and possess great supernatural power, which they use to feed on the blood of humans, especially infants. The transformation occurs at night, allowing them to move unnoticed among humans by day. Tlahuelpuchis are born with this curse, inheriting their abilities from birth rather than choosing them. Around puberty, they realize their powers and begin to practice dark magic. Their curse binds them to feed on blood regularly, and they typically target infants, making them terrifying figures in rural communities. Tlahuelpuchis have been linked to both vampire and witch folklore, with their ability to shapeshift being a central trait. Though powerful, the Tlahuelpuchi is vulnerable to traditional protective measures such as garlic, crosses, and mirrors. Some legends even claim that scattering seeds or placing scissors under a baby's crib can prevent an attack. Despite their fearsome reputation, they live ordinary lives among their families, making them difficult to detect unless caught in the act. Tartaglia is a terrifying figure from Yakama folklore, often referred to as the Owl Woman monster. According to legend, she is one of 5 supernatural women who resemble giant owls. These monstrous beings dwell in caves during the day and come out at night to hunt, with a particular preference for human flesh, especially that of children. Their owl-like appearance is a significant aspect of their connection to death and the supernatural, as owls are often seen as harbingers of death in many Native American cultures. Tartaglia and her sisters are said to be cunning predators, able to mimic human voices to lure unsuspecting people into their traps. Once caught, their victims have little chance of survival. The Owl Woman's nocturnal hunts and predatory nature make them some of the most feared figures in the Yakama tribe's mythology. As we close our spellbook on the witches woven into the myths and folklore of various cultures, we've encountered figures who embody the power of magic, mystery, and transformation. Each witch tells a unique story, revealing the complex interplay between humanity, nature, and the supernatural. These witches aren't merely relics of the past, they reflect timeless themes of fear, power, and the unknown, reminding us that magic often lies just beyond the boundaries of the ordinary. Every tale carries a lesson, and every spell casts a shadow that lingers in the fabric of myth.